Sports. Touchdown! The flagship station of the Patriots ruin the Celtics. WBCFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Beasley Media Group station celebrating 65 years of broadcasting.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Patriots said their goodbyes and met the media one final time in Foxborough yesterday. Starting left tackle Will Campbell apologized for not speaking after Super Bowl 60, and then he added he played the entire playoffs with a torn ligament in his knee.
It obviously wasn't 100%. I mean, I don't think, when you tear a ligament in your knee, it's not going to be how it was before.
In addition, Mike Vrabel added that despite his struggles in the Super Bowl, Campbell is staying at left tackle. Drake May added he will not need surgery on his throwing shoulder, and it was that hit in Denver that got him hurt. Celtics play Chicago at TD Garden tonight after a couple of days off. Grandy and Max at the pregame at 7 and the tip-off at 7:30 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Jason Tatum's still out, but he took part in practice with the Maine Celtics and reported no problems afterwards. He added there's still no timetable for his return. Red Sox manager Alex Cora officially named Garrett Crochet as opening day starter on day one of workouts for pitchers and catchers. And at the Winter Olympics, the U.S. women's hockey team beat Canada 5-0. They wound up 4-0 in preliminary round play while outscoring their opponents 20-1. The men's hockey tournament begins today. The U.S. opens with Latvia tomorrow. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your drive-through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
This is what happens when analysts take over the games, take over the sport.
This is where you talk sports.
It happens all the time.
The Sports Hub.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher
You might hate me, but you're listening.
and Hardy
Don't bother me. I'm at the Pickle Palace.
on 98.5.
I know what I'm capable of.
He said something about peanut butter, right?
Yeah. Boning, baby. Make America nut again.
That's gross. That's disgusting.
Let's talk about cheese.
What are you going to have for lunch?
I was at dinner with my wife and a friend.
Kitty, kitty, pussy, kitty, kitty, kitty. Flap, flap, flap.
Shut up, I'm trying to talk to Paul.
Toucher and Hardy
Good luck trying to put your finger in it when there's a million holes.
on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
Update number. But why? Well, maybe. Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy. Town Fair Tire Studios, 617-779-0985. You can watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. And you can download the podcast anywhere you download podcasts. But why? That's right. Alcohol. Why is indeed what it is. A sad day today. It's Andrew Callahan's last day for the football season. As we do our last two stats and lie, Hardy cannot win.
You know what? But knowing Andrew, and I was thinking about this last night, awaiting sleep, I wonder if Andrew will come up with a special bonus situation for today, like a nearly impossible way to maybe get like a bonus point out of something.
Well, I mean, do they do that at Jeopardy if someone's got negative dollars? Do they just create a rule that they can get back into it?
Well, Hardy can't win, but can't he make it a three-way tie
No.
if he gets it and the two of you
No.
don't?
No.
What's the score right now?
He's down 2, so he can't.
Ah.
So, no, he was eliminated last week. No, that is the facts. And so John and I are tied. So John and I could end up in a tie. But Hardy has been removed. He is the big loser.
Well, I don't know.
No, you can't. You're down 2. That's the fact. And there's no way around it.
Nobody won last week.
No. So you're down 2.
No, I think I'm down 1.
7-7-5, right?
Or it's 8-8-6 or something.
Okay.
No, you're down 2. That is the case.
I have it at 7-7-6.
It was 7-7-6 going into last week.
It was?
Yeah.
And if it was 7-7-6
Okay,
going
because
into
the
last
bid
week,
ended
no one
last
win.
week with us saying Hardy can't win. And Callahan saying, oh, Hardy can't win.
I can only tie.
Yeah.
That's got to be what it was.
Oh, maybe he can't tie.
Huh. Yeah.
I thought he was down 2.
That's what I thought it was too. No, because I thought the whole intrigue coming into today was he can't win, but he can tie, so it would be a 3-way tie.
I thought Hardy was down 2 also.
In certain situations.
Uh-huh.
He gets it right.
Suck it, I can tie.
We'll have to ask.
Let's make Hardy go first, and then we'll just guess the same thing he does to really piss him off.
We trust this very detailed accounting of all the 2 stats in a lie that I've been keeping all year long.
Fred, make Hardy go first, and then we'll just guess the same thing he does.
We should.
I think that would be the right way to go about doing things.
We'll ask Andrew when he gets here.
I tell you what, though, because you guys are absolutely right. There's no reason for me to have some kind of unfair advantage and go last. We can pick to see the order, or we can do a random draw to see who chooses first.
Sure.
Okay.
We can absolutely do that.
All right.
If that's what we care to do. Yesterday after the show, I got into the elevator, and the elevator doors shut. And then the elevator just sat there.
And there's that bolt of panic that goes through you.
Well, and then I hit the open button, and it didn't open.
Oh, boy.
And then I hit all the other floors, and it didn't open.
Oh, yeah.
So I started having to hit the alarm and then hit the phone button.
Yep.
So I was like hitting the alarm and hitting the alarm and hitting the phone button. And the good news is the alarm works. When I hit the phone button, it didn't do anything. So I was in there for a couple minutes. And then the doors just opened. The elevator never moved.
Were the blue shirts there waiting for you?
No. I'm not positive anything happened. I'm not positive anything happened anywhere.
So elevators at the end of the hall.
Yes.
The one on the left or the one on the right?
I think the one on the right. I'm not positive.
Oh, that's no good.
That's the freight elevator, right? That's the one they put the padding in case to move stuff.
But that's the fast one too. That's the one where the door closes quicker. It gets up and down like 5 seconds faster.
Yeah.
Well, I walked down the stairs yesterday. Now I didn't remember when I came in today, so I took the elevator up. And I don't want to get into a thing where I'm not riding in the elevator because we've been here for years and I've never really been stuck in it. It's always just been the kunk and then the pause and then the movement. But this was like, okay, I'm in the elevator and it's not moving and nothing's happening, to the point where I was hitting the alarm and hitting the phone. Now, maybe the blue shirts open the elevator. Maybe they have like a remote control of the elevator or something, and they open the doors when they heard the alarm. But thankfully, it was the end of the show, so I had my bag and my phone on me. But when I go down to like the mezzanine level to get food or like something to drink, I don't bring my phone with me. So if I was in there, I'd be completely dependent on that phone button in the elevator. And I'm not positive that does anything.
Doesn't sound like it. Sounds like it's just there for you to press. It doesn't sound keep you occupied.
Well, I mean, because you would think that they can talk to you.
Yes.
But I don't know who you're talking to at that point.
I would think it's no one in this building.
I thought I just always assumed that phone called 911.
Well, I was hitting it.
Oh no.
So yeah, like it was long enough where my mind was like, okay, you're stuck in the elevator. Like, don't pry open the doors. What are you going to do? All right, so you should probably hit the alarm. So I was like, I'm glad no one heard it. You guys were all here. I mean, Adam was here because I called Adam. I take it you were still here, Hardy. I'm not sure what a racket that makes. I could hear the alarm, but it just goes like ring, ring, and it only rings when you hit the button. So it doesn't like set off an alarm.
So you got to lean on it to make sure that anyone hears it?
Yeah, you just hit it and it goes like ring, 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 ring.
Oh, boy.
So like it didn't set off anything that reverberated through the building or like called anything. It just made a ringing noise. And then I hit the phone and then it didn't do anything, but then the doors opened. So, but I was, you wait for a while before you hit the alarm because you don't want to raise a fuss if nothing's going on. So I don't know how long I was in there for, but long enough where I was hitting the alarm for the first time in my life. But I mean, and then my mom's afraid of elevators.
Oh.
Which is funny because she lived in Manhattan for years and years and years. But she is developed this fear of elevators. So the first thing I did was I called her, and she was so mad at the station. She was mad at the station. She's like, why do they keep doing that to you? Why because she listens and I've talked about the elevator before. And she's like, they should really do something. You need to talk to them. And I'm like, well, I don't think the station owns they don't own the building. And she's like, well, you're going to have to do something, Freddie. And I said, well, there's really nothing I can do about it.
Was it slowly drifting over into this is your fault territory?
That's what I was thinking. Somehow this turned into your fault.
No, she was just expressing her own, how she would have completely lost her mind. She didn't like the idea of, that I was stuck in the elevator at all for any length of time.
Maybe Martha was onto something. She wouldn't set foot in that elevator. Bless her heart.
Mm-hmm.
And she is now moved on to future endeavors. But she was probably up and down to the first floor more than anyone in this building, and she never took the elevator.
See, my fear is that if I stop taking the elevator here, then I'll get in the habit of not taking elevators, and then you're in a bit of a precarious situation.
Yeah.
Like if you indulge the fear, then it becomes like a neuroses, and then you're not doing it anywhere. Or when you get in an elevator, it's like a big deal. That's my experience with things like this, is that you kind of got to go right back to it. Because this is the building I'm taking the elevator the most in. Because on a day-to-day basis, at the gym, there's an elevator. And then just the places you guys would go. So the gym and here are the places that I'm in the elevator the most. And if I fear, and at the gym, there's nothing you can do about it. I don't know how the hell you'd get out of there. It's an underground parking garage. And if you didn't take the elevator, you would have to wind your way through the parking garage up to the top and then find a door to walk into the gym. I have no idea how you would even do that.
Yeah, the elevator in the gym now, and on its surface sounds silly, but no, from a parking garage, I get it. You just want to get to the gym and do your thing.
Yeah, if you park on the third level of parking, I think you would have to walk your way up the ramps and everything to get up to ground level, and then you would have to walk in and then walk up the stairs to the gym. That's not happening.
God.
And they have
the gym after all that.
What?
You wouldn't need the gym after all that. You got your workout in.
Good job. So the glass, but it's a glass elevator.
Oh, like Willy Wonka.
So that's, for some reason, is more comforting. The glass elevator, because you can see through the window.
Ah.
And then, it almost gives you a feeling of control.
They had something like that in Windsor at the $1 Million Saloon. Now, it wasn't an elevator, but it was a suspended plexiglass box. And the eroticism came when the woman would go into the box. And as you know, Fred, in Windsor, they serve alcohol and they're all nude. The true eroticism came when she would then sit down on the glass bottom of that plexiglass box. Well, there's an image I've never seen before. I don't know that I'll ever see that again.
It's like standing over a mirror. Yeah, you're seeing, it's like a gynecological thing.
But it was kind of, it's pressed almost like on a slide in biology class.
Yeah, it's hot. That's right.
Yeah.
That's what you were missing.
We all looked.
Certainly you did. Now see, you were going over to Canada. You weren't going to the Bouzouki Lounge, which still exists. The Bouzouki Lounge is all right. That's a decent strip club, and it's right there. It's right there downtown.
Is the booby trap still there by the airport?
Oh, I've never been to the. I just know that from the Free Press, the little ads that I used to use when I was a child. I told you about the place in Pittsburgh where if you ordered a certain drink, they rang a bell, and there was a midget in a cage, a bird cage, and he would come out and dance on the bar. That was a place in Pittsburgh. While I was in Pittsburgh, my friend and I went to go watch baseball. It was an excuse to go somewhere. We went to Pittsburgh, and one night we went to that bar. We just happened upon that bar. I'd heard rumors of it, but it was true.
Yeah.
And then we went to another bar, and randomly Mini Kiss was playing. So 2 nights in a row in Pittsburgh, there were little people everywhere.
Yep.
Wow.
But, I mean, and this wasn't 100 years ago. This was like, I lived in Boston, so this was probably like 07.
Yeah, there was a place in Vegas called the Double Down Saloon. It was kind of over by the Hard Rock, so off the strip. And I told somebody to go there. They were looking for a real dive bar. And this was a place that started off just as a dive bar. And then they started leaning into it a little bit, but they did nothing to... This was not a themed dive bar.
Right.
It was not a franchise place. And in the Double Down, they would show little person porn on all the TVs. And that's something that you don't see, number one. And number two, you would think almost not allowed in a place that with a liquor license. You know, they got rules about things that can happen in establishments. They did not care.
Yeah, you would think that, hardcore pornography. And then I would question, like, if it's a dive bar, that means people are, like, staying for a long time, that I would think it would grow weary at a certain point of watching that, pornography of any kind.
Can we put the game on? No. If you're going to look at that TV, that's what you're going to watch.
Like, that would be funny, or I guess it would be eccentric for... if they did it for like 5 minutes and you went, oh my goodness, like, and everyone saw it. But like, if it just was playing all the time, I'm questioning the sanity of the workers there.
Yeah. Some of this stuff was, I mean, just dumb. They had a $20 puke deposit. So they would, have these certain concoctions. And if you puked, the rule was you had to clean it up yourself unless you gave them $20 at the beginning of the night. And then they would see to it. And I always question, like, well, how are they going to make somebody in that state clean up after themselves? You just get thrown out, I would assume.
Yeah, it seems like a cute kind of...
Yeah, that was just... but the other
you're
stuff...
partying hard.
The other stuff was not cute or conceptual. It was just off-putting.
Disconcerting.
Well, I mean,
that's a better word.
Back then they had dwarf tossing. Remember when they would have dwarf bowling and dwarf tossing? And
yeah.
I think that's how Beetlejuice came to the Stern Show. I think the guy ran a dwarf tossing thing.
I remember my dad coming home one night, and this, wasn't at, one of his, Yellow Page salesman bars. I think they had gone someplace else that night. But he came home talking about, seeing it. Now, so this was a long time ago. This, I don't think I've ever seen it.
I haven't seen it either, but there have, in Buckhead, in Atlanta, there were bars that did it. And I never went to it, like in midget wrestling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like they all did that.
I think all through the 80s, it was still a thing.
Well, this was the 2000s.
Oh God. Yeah.
In Buckhead, like in those like corny bars, like Uranus, like there's a bar Uranus, and they had like a slide in it. Like they would do like dumb crap like that. It never appealed to me. But I heard stories about like those dudes after they were done performing would be backstage and there would be like a bunch of girls back there like hooking up with them. At least that's what was told to me. I'm starting to think that maybe that wasn't true. But I've heard that like backstage at those things is a real crap show. Now I don't know the quality of woman, but that like there's, just by nature of performing and people drinking, that the girls got all like excited by it and like wanted to hook up with the guys.
There was a dude in Vegas who used to show up at our events, and he even got hired by a couple of. Remember, we used to do like car stereo remotes all the time. Going to be at Audio Express on Saturday from 2 to 4. Car stereo, alarm, and window tint. All these guys made millions of dollars, I think, in the 80s and 90s, and I don't know what they do now.
Beeper store.
Hopefully, beeper stores, right? But this guy used to hire someone who would advertise himself as Wee Man. And this dude, this little person, looked so much like Wee Man that he could get away with it. And they didn't bill him as a Wee Man impersonator. People thought it was Wee Man. I remember our promotions director, this guy named Tank, was so offended that this dude was passing himself off as Wee Man. He said, especially look at him. He's wearing Levi's and Nike high tops. Wee Man's a skater. He would never wear that. He'd have shorts and bands on.
It was all you could do to not laugh at him.
But I mean, that's what really tipped Tank off. The fact that this guy was wearing jeans and like Reebok aerobic high tops. Like,
Sure.
yeah, you're right. We men would not dress like that.
No, he was in Anthrax. That's pretty much the thrash metal uniform.
It was. He was like a little metal dude.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
Yeah.
Puffy white high tops and skin tight jeans.
Yeah.
There's that song Headbanger. Oh boy. Okay, now I gotta look it up. Where
Wait,
they
the
describe-
rap song Headbanger?
No. It's by a Fat Records band, the band from Montana. Headbanging. Da-da-da-da. Oh man. All right, now I'm curious. They describe it completely. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. We are Toucher and Hardy. Let's go to Cam real quick. Cam, go ahead.
Hey, I wanted to talk about the midget wrestling. I went to a midget wrestling event at the Palladium in Worcester. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's the worst place in America. I was all for a good time. I thought it was going to be fun, and people started screaming the most vulgar stuff that you could ever imagine, and it was the most uncomfortable I've ever been in my life. They degraded these guys to the point where I had to leave. I felt bad.
Yeah, that's
and
why
finally,
I didn't go. I didn't ever want to go. It didn't seem like it was. It didn't seem to be like on even footing. It wasn't like at a strip club. Like the strippers have like a certain degree of power, right? Right. With the midget wrestling, I was like, this is kind of like everyone's like it's a kind of like a big joke. I didn't care for that either.
And speaking of stripping, my friends talked to me to go back in after the intermission, and then after the intermission, they got on the stage, and the one lady midget wrestler, she offered lap dances for $5, and everybody surrounded the ring, and it was the most messed up experience of my life.
Yeah, that's not good.
Okay, so Brian Bell just texted me. This show came to my town, and they are playing Game On tomorrow. Okay, what show are you talking about? And unless, before you say, you can't say that word, this is the name of the site, Little Mania Events, and it's called Little Mania Midget Wrestling. High-impact wrestling like you've never seen before, small stature, huge impact. Upcoming dates, Thursday, February 12th at Game On in Boston.
Yeah, so it's still happening.
It's still happening.
Oh, my God.
There you go. All right. It's good to know. Some things never change. No, I never had the desire to see that. That wasn't something that I was overly interested in. Now, I did go to the bar where the guy was in the cage and came out and danced on the bar when you ordered the drink. But that wasn't by design. That just sort of happened. But it's something that you remember and something that you talk about. All right, what happened last night, Hardy?
Also, Zoe texted. He said, holy blank. Yep. Midget in a cage in bar in Pittsburgh, and Gresh and I did a Super Bowl party in Rhode Island, and we had Midget Kiss play at it.
So he co-signs on that bar in Pittsburgh.
He's got a video that he...
Of course he does.
Yeah, he's got it saved as a favorite right there on his phone.
How about that?
He pulled it up, no problem.
That's like you with his throw-up video. You have it at your leisure whenever
it's a favorite. Just
whenever it's needed. He's got that Zoe throwing up during the commercial read.
There's a shortcut to that sumbitch.
It's so perfect on so many occasions. All right, let's move on.
But do you have it?
Of course he does. He's got buttons. Just pow. There it is.
It does. I do think it's funny that you can grab that whenever you want. That is always on. That's fantastic. That is always there.
It's a window inside Hardy. That was good.
Yeah, he has it in his phone whenever you need it. He's got it on the thing whenever you need it.
If you stop him on the street, say, please don't like throw up. He'll do it for you.
Yeah.
That's great.
He's got it right there.
It's like a card trick. Will Campbell finally spoke yesterday. He did not speak after the Super Bowl loss to the Seahawks on Sunday, but yesterday as they were wrapping up and packing up, he said sorry about that.
I apologize about the other night not being available to talk. Just had a lot of emotions, obviously going after tough loss, long year. I just wanted to make sure that I had my head on properly before I said anything. I didn't want to say anything that I didn't need to say, and I know that can happen, especially with myself whenever there's emotions involved. So just wanted the night to sleep on things.
Okay, can we talk about something that's interesting? So Will Campbell said he didn't want to say anything that he would regret.
That's what stood out to me, too.
Which I take it is playing with an injury. Let's just say that. But I do think this is interesting, that we talked a lot about that injury, and we talked about how severe it was. And everyone that covered the team came in here and said, well, he can play. He's not walking around. Doesn't have anything on. He can play. Now, you fast forward through the playoffs where he was historically terrible. And like a major point of discussion nationally, the left tackle for one of the Super Bowl teams is a huge topic of discussion, and now it's because he was hurt. You do see how that's frustrating.
Yes.
That and it's from the fan base too. The reason I remember it is because it was so confusing.
He got carted off.
Yeah, and then I said,
with a towel over his head.
When the doctor examines you, I've been through this with both my kids. I've been through, my son's always got people poking around on him. Like, they grab your knee and they move it around and they can tell that something's wrong. That's why they cart you off. They can tell like right away something's wrong, and that means it's pretty severe. So then, but people got so mad. No. Fine. Okay, then he's not hurt that bad. But then he sucks, and now he's hurt. It is a little frustrating. Like, so you were wrong the whole time, and now you're backtracking on it, but you got those glorious 6 weeks of being, on a high horse, and now you just completely reverse it like nothing happened. So you got to make up your mind a little bit. If he was so hurt, then why was he playing? It's not like they didn't know he was on injured reserve. He was out. I mean, does he need surgery? Why was he in there? If his injury was such an issue and you knew that, and you knew he's so much better that even when he's hurt, like anyone else you would have put in left tackle wouldn't have had a better game.
It's interesting in the 24 hours, it's almost 24 hours since he said that. Now people are trying to split the difference. Well, a severe sprain is technically a small tear, and that's what he's talking about.
I recall that.
Yeah.
I recall, yes, a sprain is tearing, and a severe sprain is a lot of tearing. It's just not completely torn off. This is the exact conversation. And I hate when people talk to me about injuries. I know what I'm talking about. Believe me. I know what I'm talking about. At a very base level, I'm not a surgeon, but I certainly know that what a sprain is. And Bert and I had this discussion a bunch of times. Bert said the same thing, and people would get so pissed off. No. You can't have it both ways. You can't trot around for 6 weeks like the belle of the ball with all this inside information and then just pivot after the Super Bowl because he sucked. I don't like that at all.
No,
you shouldn't have gotten those 6 weeks. I deserve an apology from everyone. If he was hurt, but I also don't know why he was playing, and I don't buy that they would have put him in when he was that hobbled, so he could sit there and be a revolving door. I don't think the Patriots would have done that. I think the Patriots would have, hung on to their investment. And that they would have erred I would have hoped they would have erred on the side of caution, or certainly erred on the side of protecting Drake May.
If I'm Vidarian Lowe, I'm like, all right, get me off this team. If you can't put me out there with a guy who's playing on a leg and a half, then you don't want me out there at all.
Right. So how hurt were you, Will?
Obviously wasn't 100%. I mean, I don't think when you tear a ligament in your knee, it's not going to be how it was before. But I was healthy enough to go, and I'm not going to say that it held me back, but yeah.
Go through my Instagram
before, obviously.
Nick put a video up of me talking about Will Campbell's injury, and read what the people said to me about me. And he just said he tore his ligament, which is all I said. All I said is that they know that if they put you and they put you in and then remember they were carting him around for 2 hours during that game. They didn't just let him off that thing. They took him into the MRI, and they carted him out of the MRI. He wasn't walking around at that point.
Mike Reese on, who said he saw it happen. That's right.
So let's go through let's do this exercise now that everyone said he's hurt. Okay. Guy goes down in the game. They take him off the field. They put him in the blue tent. What do you think they're doing in the blue tent? They're just going, does it hurt?
No,
they're messing around with his knee and seeing the kneecap moving around. Yeah. So then they go, oh no, all right, you can't stand on it. We're going to get you on a cart. And they obviously told him, and he obviously felt something snap. So he's crying, as you would. He's a 23-year-old kid. This is his career. His career's flashing in front of his eyes. He's achieved his dream. They take him off in the cart. He goes and gets an MRI. They put him back on the cart and wheel him around because they don't want him walking after the MRI.
Okay, I've got the comments pulled up from the video.
Thank you.
And actually, can we pull it up? Can we hear what Fred said back then? That might be better to hear it exactly what you were saying in the video that got posted.
Okay. Does your computer? Can you get the sound from Hardy's computer up?
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, hold on a second.
You're up whenever you're ready.
All right. So this is
the big offensive video that Nick put up. I didn't put this up. Nick put this up.
This is late November.
Yeah.
After the Cincinnati game.
Yes.
All right. This should work here. He improved to 10-2 on the season,
which is great. I'm not positive that a lot of Patriot fans are going, huzzah, here comes the Super Bowl. It seems like that was a bit of a water finding its level. You played against a quarterback that didn't play particularly well. You played against a team that at the end of the game when they had a chance to win was missing their really only good offensive player. One player ran for over 100 yards against you.
Yep.
You lost your left tackle and left guard, but especially your left tackle. You are you're completely vulnerable against the run now, which you weren't. You are now very vulnerable against a good pass rush on Monday. Sorry, John. On Monday. Mm-hmm. It's in a team that seems to be trying. I don't know. I was all about this, and now I don't know how all about it I am anymore.
I think you're right about. Based on what happened the last 2 years, a win is a win. I'm happy they won. They're 10-2, and that's good. But what happened yesterday takes some things off the table for you in the future. The expectations after yesterday have to be different.
All right. So but that's there was another video where I talked more about the injury.
Comments. Delusion. Most likely, Will has an MCL sprain and Jared has an ankle sprain. They will be good to go come playoffs. We're already clinched. We can lose all these games in a given scenario. Overreaction. Milton will be back in 3 to 4 weeks. Let's relax a little bit. Only thing that's an overreaction is the Super Bowl. So, as it turns out, everybody was wrong. In terms of making the Super Bowl, even the fans.
Oh, yeah. Well, I admit that I was wrong about them making the Super Bowl.
Well, everybody was, but it still affected him. And that's what he was talking about yesterday. He's talking about the fact that he tore a ligament.
Dan, go ahead.
Hey, buddy. I just want to apologize.
Thank you, Dan.
Love you.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. I just wanted one person to apologize to me.
There you go. You feel better?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel much better. No, John and I didn't think that they were going to make the Super Bowl. And, I mean, they were 10-2, and that was very surprising. And, again,
you lose the left side of your line. Rookies are no rookies. At that point in the season with a month to go, and you didn't think either of them would play again? No, of course not. You'd have to be insane to predict a Super Bowl run after that.
No, but, and if you did, God bless you, that you're great and you're better than me. There's no question about it. I was completely wrong. But I wasn't. I found the backlash from talking about Will Campbell's injury being serious to be a little odd. That I found odd.
But the thing is, that is as logical gets. You see your starting left tackle carted off the field, carted from the X-ray room to the locker room. There's no way.
And
this
then
guy's
go on IR.
playing again.
Yes. That's the thing is then you go on IR and you're like, well, this isn't good. And then they go, well, it's just a sprain, a severe sprain. And a severe sprain, by definition, I mean, I can't tell you how many people I emailed this back to. Because I'm like, what are you upset about? A severe sprain is tearing of the ligament. And a severe one is severe tearing of the ligament. It just hasn't snapped. So people got to make up their minds.
Yeah.
Is Will Campbell... Is he really hurt, and that was the reason he didn't play well, and that's the case, then why were they playing him? Because if you're Vidarian Lowe wasn't bad when he was in there. He was certainly better than Will Campbell was in the playoffs. Now, I understand the quality of defensive lines they played in the playoffs, but that's 4 teams. I mean, that's 4 teams. Like, that's a good chunk of the NFL. Like, you got to, if you're going to be the left tackle for a playoff team, you got to be able to play the position in the playoffs.
I mean, you have to figure after getting beat one way against the Chargers, then another way against Houston, and then being thoroughly dominated in the Super Bowl, what damage does that do mentally to a kid?
Oh, yeah. I mean, completely.
Why not put Badarian Lowe out there for a handful of snaps just to take the weight off this kid's mind once in a while?
No,
You're not going to get any worse. So why not put? This is retroactively, but still,
they gave themselves a false sense of security by being able to have him in there and having him play well for a lot of games this season. But once they started facing real defenses, for this season anyway, elite defenses, that's when he got exposed, and the injury made it that much tougher for him. I don't know how he would have played 100% healthy against those defenses.
Better than that.
Better, yeah, but I still don't know that he would have been up to the task. So take some solace in that.
It just seems like they're dug in on him being a left tackle.
That was very obvious from yesterday.
So we'll get to that too, along with what Drake May had to say.
I know Vrabel said that, but the thing I'm saying is that they drafted him at that position in the draft. No, I feel bad for Will Campbell, really bad for Will Campbell. If you put yourself in his shoes, he's 23 years old. He plays kind of like a it's a well compensated but like lacks glory. Left tackle isn't certainly. You're not celebrating and, scoring touchdowns. Like, it's kind of a thankless position. I mean, you do get compensated very well, but you know what I'm saying. There's not a lot of glory. Like, you're the quarterback gets all the shine, and the receivers, even like defensive players with sacks, you're kind of in the trenches there, anonymous, which is how you want to be. And then you're 23 years old. You just got into the NFL. You've known nothing but success your entire life. And on the biggest stage in front of 140 million people, you play one of the worst games by anyone at any position in the Super Bowl. I don't look. I'm not a historian, but I don't know how many Super Bowls afterwards. I know that the Chiefs have had offensive line issues, but not like this.
And no one has had offensive line issues in the Super Bowl like that, what we just saw.
And then so the whole storyline after the Super Bowl is about the left tackle. That's got to be very difficult. And I do feel bad for him. And he didn't do anything wrong. I really do feel bad for him. And I understand why he didn't talk to the media even. It's just, and it's good that he talked to him yesterday. But still, if I'm him, might want to move to left guard. Just be like, I don't want this happening again. I'll make a few less shekels, but this ain't so bad. All right, so we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Hey, buddy, I just want to apologize.
Sports.
Uh-oh. All right, now you got to put it because he's about to swear again.
All right.
All right. There you go. I said, Ryan, get rid of the swears.
Yeah, but
he left one in for spice.
That's just Ryan talks that way all the time, though, so he doesn't even know what a swear is anymore.
I said, if we're going to play this, you got to take out the swears. I said, there's 2 swears. And he said, okay.
I guess there's like 6.
Okay.
Well, I wasn't going to play the whole song. I mean, it is like 1 minute and 45 seconds, but I wasn't going to play the whole song. You really just had to get rid of the S word. Well, there you go. If you're watching on YouTube or you're streaming the show,
you win again.
Listen, you got to hear a naughty word. All right, go ahead.
We'll be talking more about plenty of naughty words being said and what they meant when we discuss.
I kind of like it. We're getting back to the usual stuff.
It happens every once in a while.
No, I like what we're doing at 7. I kind of like it's comforting.
Yes,
people are getting back to traditional roles.
Right. But for Drake May yesterday, he took ownership of the way he played.
Sometimes you wish things would have gone different, but I can't say I have any regrets. Besides not making a few extra more plays and a few extra throws in that game.
All right, there's that. And what about his injury?
I mean, I feel like my arm was feeling great all year. I don't think throwing really was the instance for my arm. I think it's a case of having him one hit in the NFC Championship game that was just kind of unfortunate timing, and unfortunate kind of just like I said, the timing of it, and the 2 weeks was great to have off, to have a chance to be out there for my guys, and I mean, you can't blame things on injuries. Things happen like this all the time in the league.
If he does have a shoulder injury and it's his throwing shoulder, that's not great news.
Well, he said, again, he wouldn't need surgery. He said, just rest and I'll be fine. I would be more concerned if he said, I need a minor procedure or any kind of procedure. But it wasn't because he got sacked. It was because he scrambled a little bit and got hit wrong in Denver. I'm not worried about this.
Okay. It's just, shoulder injuries for people that throw is a little concerning.
But the fact that he told the media he wouldn't need surgery means, to me, he's going to be fine.
How much did it affect the way you played, though, on Sunday?
Was blessed this year. What a year of health and blessings for me this year. You can't stone it on one little thing on the shoulder. So it's just unfortunate. It happened to be throwing one, but at the same time, I could have prevented it or made more plays. I was feeling like I was able to make throws in the game and was myself. So nothing that I have anything really just much else to say about that.
Is it his rotator cuff? Is it his labrum? What's aggravated? Is it a sprain? Because that's the ligaments.
Spinal.
Let's go all out. Let's start that rumor.
I just know if he played baseball.
I broke my back.
I just know if he played baseball, he'd be out a year. So
that's true. It'll be enough poking and prodding to last a lifetime.
I've always wondered why quarterbacks seem to because they throw like a ton and they're throwing at full strength. Like why pitchers' arms get destroyed so much, and quarterbacks just seem to be able to, like when they have to retire because of injury, it's not like their throwing shoulder, like pitch or their elbows. Like they don't get any elbow injuries. Like they don't need Tommy John surgery. I've often thought about. I always thought about that with Tom Brady. Like this guy, they talk about his practice, like in what he does in the offseason. Like he's throwing the ball 100 times a day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to start just shotgun scatter guessing, but I would think the size of the ball has something to do with actually reducing the amount of injury. Like if you try and throw a ping pong ball as hard as you can, you're going to throw your arm out.
Well, they say that the reason that there's the elbow injuries is the velocity of the arm when you're pitching. So I would suppose that.
But the bigger ball, the way you have to grip it, you can't throw it as hard as you throw a baseball.
Well, your arm's not going as fast.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of the same thing as that your arm's not whipping as fast. It's like when you're throwing that hard and you're pitching, it's the movement is like the deceleration of your arm and everything that they say that's what puts strain on the ligaments and on your labrum. And so quarterbacks don't seem to have those problems. I just know that if you had a right shoulder injury and you're a right-handed quarterback, that's something to keep an eye on. I'm sure he'll be fine.
All right. Mike Vrabel was defending Will Campbell, so much so that any thought of big changes happening, you can just set those aside.
You sign up to play left tackle, you sign up to play corner, you sign up to play quarterback, you sign up to be the head coach. You get judged, you get scrutinized. Will's 22 years old. He's our left tackle. He'll get better, he'll get stronger. Moments where he played well, moments where he blocked the guy. There's plays he'd like to have back. We're not moving Will to guard or to center or to tight end or anywhere else. So I don't know what to tell you.
Well, you just told him.
Well, yeah.
The injury.
So he's 22, not 23, by the way.
The injury, takes everything else off the table. I mean, you have to see what this kid can do for a full season when he's not battling a torn ligament in his knee. If he's bad next year, again, and he's not mentally screwed up, then he's your left tackle of the future.
I guess.
I mean, this injury gives him another year, at the very least, where he is now.
Well, then I don't know why they were playing him. I don't know why they were playing a guy if he was that hobbled with injury. He's that much better than a replacement. The replacement would have allowed 14 pressures.
No, we said this in the last
The replacement would have had the worst game of any lineman in any game in the NFL this season.
Nope. Vidarian Lowe would have been better. I'm going to go way out on a limb and say Vidarian Lowe would have been better than that.
Do you think if Will Campbell wasn't the 4th overall pick in the draft, he would have played in those games?
No.
So that's a problem. You got to pull the trigger on that.
Mm-hmm.
He was bad the entire playoffs. And by the way, you have a franchise quarterback, a kid at quarterback that's a franchise quarterback.
Yep.
I'd be I'd want to win the Super Bowl. I think if I got into it, that I'd want to win the game. And then B, I'd be concerned about my quarterback's right shoulder.
Drake brought it up yesterday about the fact of where he was picked.
It's a pleasure going out there with Will. Every time I know it's probably been a long year for the rookies. A long year for Will, a long year for these guys to get adapted to play in the NFL. And I think Will is a great case of somebody who's experienced it all. Experienced the ups and downs, injury side of it, the long times we gotta you don't want to talk to the media but you have to, or the expectations of a first round pick. I think he's dealt with so much this year.
Yeah, if you are a head coach and your quarterback is hurt and he's your franchise quarterback, this is the guy, the foundation upon which you're going to build your program, and you have a left tackle that isn't right and is very far from being right, that's a problem. And you keep running that left tackle out there to try and protect the blind side of a quarterback that's hurt, so hurt, in fact, he needed a pain-killing shot to get out there on Sunday. Yeah.
What was he out?
Very dangerous.
What was he out with? What was Drake May out with at the end of last season? What was his injury at the end of last season?
Was it a concussion? I'm trying to remember now. I don't.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
Was it a concussion?
Because remember, Drake May didn't play at the end of last season. He was
he played. I think he played like one series, and then Joe Milton came in that Buffalo game.
I know he was banged up.
No, he was banged up, but that last game against Buffalo, he was in shortly, and then Joe Milton came in, if I remember right.
It wasn't his shoulder, was it?
I don't think so.
That was earlier, and he had a bit of an ankle in November, but it was the last one was December 28th. He left the Week 17 game against the Chargers for a head injury evaluation, but he did. He started against Buffalo?
I want to say he did. I've gotten this stuff wrong before, but I want to say he played one series against Buffalo, and then Joe Milton came in.
Huh.
All right. Well, there you go. All right. We'll be back. A comforting bit of outrage is going on, and we will have that for you in just a moment.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. You can watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. I don't think we'll talk much more about the halftime show, but a lot of people are still talking about it. Bad Bunny's halftime set a record of 4 billion views after the first 24 hours, according to the NFL and Ripple Analytics. That's a 137% increase over last year. So the TV ratings were down a little bit. But however they aggregate this garbage, social media consumption, I don't know how the hell that's aggregated or the accuracy of it, but apparently 4 billion people online watched. I don't know if that counts like just a picture of it or what the hell's going on, but 4 billion people. I don't know how many people are on the planet.
I got to check that right now.
I don't know. I think it's like up to almost 8 now.
So half the people on the planet on social media have watched the halftime show. I find that difficult to believe.
8.3 billion on the planet as we speak.
I find it difficult to believe that half the people on the planet, like aren't there still like pygmy villages and stuff? Like aren't there still places there they don't, like, I mean, just take the Amish out of it. I mean, that's at least a few thousand.
Well, we're not talking about unique viewers. We're talking about views.
Well, I mean, I've looked at it 100,000
I know.
times.
I've watched it 50 times.
I watched it 100,000 times. Well, obviously, it's very controversial. We went over it yesterday. But the reason we're going over it today is on this very station. There was some controversy in a couple shows, and also the old trope of the Southern politician is coming back, and it is kind of heartwarming. You'll recall, in our lifetimes, Judas Priest had to hire lawyers and really go to court in front of a jury because they were getting sued because a kid killed himself, and they're saying it's because of backward masking on the records. Well, what is that? This went to trial. A judge took a record player with a Judas Priest album on it and spun it backwards.
Bailiff, bring that phonograph over here.
Bring that phonograph over here and let me listen. When the thing's coming backwards, see, this band wants all the fans to kill themselves. They've been a band for 25 years and they want their audience to thin out. And when you hear something backwards, it still gets into the subliminal part of your brain. I mean, it's so insane. And they had to wear suits, and they're this metal band in suits. And they had to spend like a month of their lives worrying about this. I mean, you feel terrible that the kid killed himself and he was a fan of yours. But it's not even like your lyrics. It's a invented backwards message. And by the way, the thing that they were accused of saying is, do it, do it. And it's off Sad Wings of Destiny, which is the worst album ever. When I was a little kid, they sold that at Kmart in like the bargain bin, and I was a big Judas Priest fan, and I brought Sad Wings of Destiny from the 70s, not good. All right, but Felger, he had something to say about the Bad Bunny halftime show.
They had the replay on last night or in the last 24 hours, so I just caught enough of Bad Bunny to know that, oh, here's another guy that has a penis.
Yes.
Wow. What?
Hello.
How about that?
And thank God.
I was listening to this live, and I said, what? It's one of those moments you look at the radio and say, what? He has what?
It's a celebration. This man has a penis.
Woo! Did you know that he has a package?
Oh, it's a
because
lot of...
he spent the whole time, and all their dancers spent the whole time just, oh, here it is. Oh, here's my... Congratulations, Mr. Bunny. You have a penis. You probably have a big one because you're so proud of you. Just want to show me.
Well, you would have to assume.
Well,
I don't go around grabbing my crotch. If I did, you would know something was going on. Like back when the guys would wear tight leather pants, let you know.
Not even nervously, you'll grab it sometimes.
If I have to pee in the car, I'll sometimes have to manipulate it so it feels less intense.
And your dancers just have to show me their package. So you are special men. You have penises. Congratulations, guys. Thanks for showing me. You know how I feel about the penis grabbing? I just think it is.
Mr. Bunny.
It is. Oh, my God. Oh, good.
Tell me more.
Aren't you special? You have a penis? Oh, good for you, sir. Good. Next. I know I'm so wound up now.
Because penises. It's very exciting.
Congratulations, Mr. Bunny.
All right, so we talked about how I believe it is fake outrage over the performance and everything, but this is actually exciting news because the old trope of the Southern senator is back.
I like having this back, too. I like some people playing to character.
Yes. So Representative Andy Ogles.
As Ogles.
As in ogling balls. That old Bob Odenkirk character. There's so much art for me to see and to decide if it's pornographic or not. I got to go and review this art.
Andy and the rest of them Ogles boys was over to house earlier.
The Ogle boys know a thing or two about lasciviousness. I remember there was a coffee table book at the neighbor's house that had a statue of David, and you could see the testicles in the penis, and it made me feel a certain way in my belly, and I knew that was the devil telling me, "Shut that book and get rid of that. That's art. That art is pornography. It's lascivious." The good people elected me to decide what is proper. So Andy Ogles said. He's going to the FCC. He's going after NBC Universal and the National Football League. I'm sure this is incredibly sincere, and that it's not grandstanding at all.
Which state is this?
It's one of the good ones.
Okay, good.
It's probably who my dad voted for in Tennessee.
Okay,
my dad's probably very proud of this. He went on, Twitter to say this.
But first he sent a letter. He penned a letter to fellow Republican Representative Brett Guthrie of Kentucky.
Well, he says the halftime show, this is on X, though, the halftime show was pure smut. He said it featured explicit displays of gay sexual acts, women gyrating provocatively.
This is a quote.
This is the quote. Gay sexual acts. I would love to name them for you, but some of them hygiene would have to be a huge issue. Women gyrating provocatively. That buttock is moving to and fro in a sexual nature. I don't like it. It's got cheeks for weeks. I don't see there's a ripple. Now, if you slow it down, you can see that butt's rippling. They're moving the butt too fast.
And that's where the provocation comes in.
It's a siren song to everyone. They start thinking about having the sex. And Bad Bunny is shamelessly grabbing his crotch and dry humping the air. That air. Someone needs to protect the air. The air.
We have a big one.
The air in Santa Clara has been sullied by the man's trousers flipping around and flapping around.
You have a penis.
Sometimes you worry about the head of the penis, see if it got bruised. He's flopping it around so much.
You know how I feel about the penis grabbing?
Stop grabbing your penis. You're making me feel a certain way. I don't like it. It's lascivious. He said that the songs in Bad Sunny Set are dirty songs, but apparently Bad Bunny, I wouldn't know. I don't speak Spanish. He did not say the dirty words in the songs.
No, in his letter to Brett Guthrie, though, he demanded an inquiry.
An inquiry into the sexual provocation of the gyrating and the dry humping.
To the NFL and the media company NBC Universal, he claims they have prior knowledge, review, and approval.
I was on
the
fence.
Penis grabbing.
I was on the fence about Wayne's World when they went swing and they thrusted the hips outwards. That was 50-50. I could have gone either way on that. It didn't make me too horny. But when the Bad Bunny did it, he was really dry humping the air. That's his words. He was dry humping the air, not wet humping, dry humping. Now you get a sloppy glass of water and you dump it on your crotch. That's wet humping.
And that proudly either it was shameless.
It was shameless gyrating. Booties everywhere. Doo, 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 doo. My goodness, cheeks for weeks. Give me a nice bony behind with undyed gray hair. And get me at a farmer's market. This article in Time Magazine says Kid Rock, known for such songs as Cool Daddy Cool, with lines like young ladies, I like them underage, see. Some say that's statutory, but I say it's mandatory. He did not perform that at the halftime show, though. He did Ba with the Ba, which talks about topless dancers and hookers.
And as he promised Laura Ingram
math.
2 days ago, he did get in his living room with his DJ and try to explain what happened with the Turning Point USA halftime show,
thank
which he
God.
said it was live. Now, it was recorded, but when we recorded it, we were doing it live, and the explanation was no explanation at all, other than the biggest takeaway was it was a crappy edit that he had approval of, and Kid Rock acknowledged, he goes, I saw it, I didn't think it was too bad, and I said, go ahead and put it out.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
so
his thing was...
so what you saw, he also saw and said, yeah, it's not perfect, but go ahead and just run with it.
My idea is that he's not
Which
overly...
is worse. Of course it is.
He's not overly concerned. And the thing is, if you're Kid Rock, this is your lane now. Like, this is how you're making money. He's touring the country. Like, I mean, this is his lane. And so what does he care? So his explanation was the DJ, and he's honest about it. He says, like, I run out of breath because I'm 55 and I'm running around. So my DJ raps like half the song, but the Turning Point people were basically too stupid to film the DJ.
They didn't have a camera trained on him.
Which was actually, now they had a backing track going, obviously. I mean, there's a DJ, and I've seen A Boogie with the Hoodie, and he just played his album while he just sat there or ran around with a mic in his hand. He wasn't even pretending to rap. So what Kid Rock did is not unprecedented in the world of hip-hop. I mean, if you want to call Ba with the Ba a hip-hop song. But there was a backing track, and he does say that, look, whatever. Whatever he did, he did. It doesn't really matter. The kind of the hypocrisy of it is Ba with the Ba's lyrics are not offensive at all, but certainly don't hold to a Bible-beating Baptist.
No, it's about pimps and hookers
and meth and heroin and like a bunch of stuff.
Right.
So like, but who cares? That's fine. But it is a little hypocritical to then point to something else that wasn't even in English.
Well, yeah, and then to say this is the Family Values halftime show.
Right, yeah. Which is a little odd because I do like the old trope of the very emotionally offended Southern senator. Or not, these aren't senators, these are just
representatives.
House of Representatives guys. So they can, get a real swath of like hillbilly land.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And real mind that. Some of these elections, 40 people voted. Not so hard.
Well, they weren't the only ones offended. Some of them listened to the Joe Show, like Vanessa, who called in presumably just to talk about her experience in, watching the game, but then it took a turn.
So you watched them lose sitting at the Jade with a Mai Tai?
I actually watched the game. There was no place in Newburyport I wanted to go, so I went to Gloucester to the Cut.
Oh, the Cut, great spot.
Yeah,
great little venue.
Great place for bands.
They got a little.
Well, they had a big screen.
Oh, nice. They had that there. They make a nice smash burger out of the place it's tied to.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they do.
They have a loose tie, the two places. Just know if you're in the area, there's a smash burger within walking distance.
A lot of these bars now, they're outsourcing the food, and if you want a burger, well, we got a place right next door, and they'll just kind of hand it through the window to us. And
yeah, it's like buying MDMA at a underground rave. There's just a hand that comes through the wall that hands it to you. It's like the smash burger. You tap 3 times on the wall, a smash burger comes out. Don't worry where it came from.
Right.
It's just
like buying
be good.
Coke from the bartender at the Hard Rock. The record guys knew which guy to go to because they could actually charge it on the record company's Amex.
Sure.
Yeah. It just showed up as a random charge.
Yeah, it comes under a cocktail now.
Yeah.
I came in from watching the All-American halftime show alternative.
So she went out to the car to go watch the All-American halftime show?
No big screen coverage of that one.
No. So it seems like she left and then came back.
I came in from watching the All-American halftime show alternative in the car. I refused to watch the train wreck of halftime because of
Vanessa.
the demonic thing.
Thank you for your call.
Demonic. That's a little old school, too, is that it was demonic. That there was a satanic, it was a satanic ritual.
Our very souls are under threat from Bad Bunny.
People can convince themselves of anything.
That's remarkable.
They really
I refused to watch.
See, the sex stuff is comforting ground because that's just like, oh, butts are making me horny and he's grabbing his balls. Rah, 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 rah. Like that's at least I've always said this. I worked with a guy. I told you they would turn on. He went watch the Super Bowl at church and they would turn the commercials off and watch whatever. And I was like, okay. The whole thing was like they were panicked about kids seeing anything remotely sexual. So you're like, all right. But when it gets to the just term demonic.
Demonic.
Yeah, demonic. He should have let her go. How was it demonic? Well, he was telling Satan.
Because that demon's everywhere.
I mean, the Smashburger started talking to me.
Well, don't worry. Joe knows how to fix things.
Halftime because of
Vanessa.
the demonic.
Thank you for your call. Thank you for your call. Things are going well, Skets. I didn't hang up, by the way.
No, I did.
I know you
Happily.
did. I know you did. Benito.
Yes.
All right. Let's muse about this one. I got questions. And I also got a story about poop. We like poop, right?
That's an olive.
You like it, right?
That took an unexpected turn. I wasn't ready for that.
Well, that's his olive branch.
That's really good.
That is something we can all agree on.
And I also got a story about poop. We like poop, right?
Some would say the best poop.
Yes.
We do love poop, as a matter of fact. Absolutely.
You like it, right?
All right. Well, what's the over/under on this Super Bowl outrage? How long it lasts? I'm guessing maybe another week, and then people seem to forget about it. That's my notion. That this fake distraction lasts for about another week.
I don't even know if it lasts a week. Yeah, and there will be like a small blurb story somewhere about somebody investigating whether or not the FCC has to answer to whether or not they saw the show ahead of time.
I think NBC Universal and the NFL are okay. I think that they're in a pretty good place to defend themselves. All right. Mark Daniels is going to join us in just a moment. He can talk about the Super Bowl, the offseason, everything with the Patriots.
Here's another guy that has a penis.
More Toucher and Hart.
enjoy 17 wins and the opportunity to coach these guys and, whatever that it looks like. But we'll continually have to improve, reflect upon the first Super Bowl I played in and was able to win and failed to make the playoffs next year. So we know how difficult this is. Won't be easy and never will be.
All right, well, let's get to Mark Daniels in 1 second. I'll take 2 phone calls. Matt, go ahead.
Hey, guys. Quick comment on the caller that you just played with Joe Murray there. So it's my understanding that she turned off the Bad Bunny halftime show because it was quote-unquote demonic, to then in turn watch what? The Kid Rock performance performing Bar with a Bar, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah.
Yes.
Off of Devil Without a Cause.
That is off the
name
album.
of the album is Devil Without a Cause.
That is.
I love you guys. Have a good day.
Thank you. That is fairly demonic. Michael, go ahead.
Freddie T, love you, man. How you doing?
What's up, Michael?
Just trying to disarm you before I let you have it.
Okay, go ahead.
You make a lot of great points, and I'm not here to dispute TPUSA and their hypocrisy at all. But, it gets a little annoying when you say, you come from the viewpoint of everybody that is offended or doesn't like it or has a problem with it or just like dumb rednecks, essentially. White, black, a lot of people that are just born and raised here have come out and said things. Like Chris Brown, the global superstar, said on his Instagram right after the performance, "I think they need me." So it's a wide range of just Americans who would like to just be able to understand the music somewhat and just be able to watch along.
Michael,
the
thing I didn't like Bad Bunny's performance. I didn't understand any of it. But my point is the NFL doesn't have an obligation to me to entertain me during the halftime show. So
I think when only 14% of households in America speak Spanish at home, you have some obligation to cater to your base. Just like you
but
and
that's
Hardy.
that's a network
that caters
decision,
to an
though.
audience.
Okay, but that's not a political decision. That's a network decision. And listen, if I was booking the halftime show, I would not have booked the guy who's saying in Spanish because I would think that would alienate the audience. But I'm not in charge of the Super Bowl. So that's a private organization. I just don't think it's a political argument. I think it's a programming argument.
Can I briefly tell you why it's a political argument?
Go ahead.
So it's no coincidence. Obviously, at least half the country doesn't agree with ICE raids, the how we're handling the border, whatever. And Trump is president. And a week before the halftime performance, Bad Bunny, while accepting a Grammy, first thing he says before thanking anyone or God or anybody, he says ICE out. Everything's political now. So,
but he had already been booked, and I understand that he has a problem with ICE. But if you found, good luck finding a popular artist that doesn't.
And this is where it all.
And that's where the alternative halftime show comes in. There is an alternative, and it did well.
And I would say this too, to kind of paraphrase what you said yesterday, Fred. This is where the whole political decision falls apart because the NFL is what? It's the owners. The owners are the NFL, and they make the decisions. The owners, for the most part, are in lockstep with the president.
Kraft was at the Melania premiere with Trump.
Right. I mean, these guys are billionaires. They're friends with the president. So if the owners of the NFL have final say on things like the halftime show, and believe me, if they rose enough of a stink about it, they would change it or they would cater to it. They're fine with it. And if they're fine with the president's fine with them, then everybody's kind of fine with it. So I don't think it's politically motivated. I think it is a business decision to rope in as many people as they can.
But Michael, my point is
political to the regular person. And my overall point quickly was just, again, this isn't just a Southern redneck,
the sex stuff is. The sex stuff
I think plenty of white, black, just people that are born in America.
The sex stuff is a hick thing. The sex stuff is a traditionally redneck thing. Being offended by the sexual content of it is
funny.
And going to the FCC is a Southern
I think that's ridiculous.
Baptist
I agree with you. And you've made points where Christian, groups have done that in the past. I get all of that. I'm just saying on a regular basis where people are sitting down to watch the halftime show, they look at this and say, I'm not familiar with any of this. I don't understand any of this. And I think there's somewhat of an obligation to cater to an audience where 86% of households mainly speak English.
Yeah, but it's not
white, black, and everybody thought that.
Okay, but that might be true, but it's not politicians. It's not the government's job to legislate that, is my point. Is that
Yes,
that,
I know. I don't want bigger government to legislate.
Okay,
this. I'm just
then
saying-
Michael, you and I are on the same page. I don't have any issue with you.
I don't know if we are completely, but I love you anyway.
All right, thank you, Michael.
I just look. I didn't like it either. I decided and figured out a long time ago that I am not the audience for the Super Bowl halftime show. They don't care if I like it. It matters not to them because they know I'm going to watch it regardless. I mean, for me, all I want is a song or two that I recognize. I didn't recognize any of the songs, much less the language it was being spoken in. But that doesn't make it any different from 90% of the other Super Bowl halftime performances that have taken place over the last couple of years. I knew one or two Kendrick Lamar songs. Like, that was enough for me to enjoy it a little bit just because it's something that I could attach it to. But they don't care. They don't care if I like it or not.
Man, I wasn't wild when New Kids on the Block were the halftime show. That was not, or Katy Perry was not exciting to me. I go into the Super Bowl pretty much resigned to, I am not going to enjoy this halftime performance. Therefore, I don't really pay attention to it, and it tends not to bother me. The Athletic did a list ranking the performances of, like, since they started doing real performances, like so the 90s.
Right.
And they all sucked except for Prince, in my opinion, or I don't remember them.
Bruno Mars is something you remember.
I don't remember it.
I don't remember Bruno Mars. I remember U2, and I thought U2 was good.
That was the Patriots Super Bowl, the first one.
The Who is my.
They had that second to last.
One of my favorite bands. I mean, it's a top 2-3 band for me of all time. The greatest rock and roll band of all time. Bad Super Bowl halftime show. It was just not good. I don't remember. I literally don't remember.
Paul McCartney do one? Trying to remember.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I don't remember it.
I don't remember it either. You know what they should do is they should sue the league for the quality of the game. That would be a better thing. The game was just as boring as the halftime show. My whole point is this, is that it's much ado about nothing, and that these billionaires don't care, and they're all scratching each other's backs, and they're raising a fuss, and it's nonsense. That's my opinion. I'm not saying you had to like it. I'm just saying it's not the politician's job to legislate your entertainment.
I remember Madonna kind of tripping as she was trying to walk up. She
I was tripping too.
Walking very gingerly up some steps because, she's in her heels and she's, of a certain age, and people falling all over themselves saying how great that was. No, it wasn't. That was not a good show either. It's just... What did you expect? A halftime show that you thought you were going to like?
Nicholas, answer the phone.
When's the last time you liked a Super Bowl halftime show?
For me, it's Prince and that one. If you look back, Bruno Mars did a great job. He's a distant second, and then there's everybody else.
There was one truly moving performance, and it's Prince. Like that's like a one in a world. Like there's one guy that could have done that. It's actually quite powerful. He's him and his guitar. There's no backing track. We talked about this yesterday. He's engaging with a stadium crowd.
Playing live guitar solos in a stadium. It's unheard of.
And he's like improvising in front of like 120 million people, and he's brilliant at it. Prince is really everything else. Like now everything's made for television, and it's The Weeknd walking. What did The Weeknd look like if you were at the Super Bowl? I mean, I like Jack White and Eminem at the Thanksgiving game better than I liked any of the Super Bowl performances except for Prince.
The Super Bowl in L.A. I keep forgetting about that one. Was Snoop and everybody. That one I liked.
That was good. Yep.
Benjamin. Ben, go ahead.
Freddie, baby.
Hello, Benjamin.
First and foremost, I am sorry. I am sorry.
Yes. Yeah, you were requesting apologies earlier in the show.
Oh, thank you for the Will Campbell injury. Thank you. Thank you, Benjamin.
Right. I was in the shower naked and soapy at the time. Lest we forget, 2003, when No Doubt brought the world together through the power of ska and then brought Sting up for a little bit.
That's right. I read this yesterday. No Doubt and Sting and like someone else, like a rapper or something, were all together on that performance.
Zero recollection.
Right.
Zero recollection of that either. I mean,
What the hell?
I was in my 20s, so let's not. Let's not pretend I was
Wallach
paying
was
any
in
attention.
his 80s.
Yes, Wallach was there for back before the merger. He was a big up with people guy.
Did Coldplay do a halftime show?
Yes, Coldplay did
Wow.
the halftime show.
I don't remember that at all.
You know why you don't remember? Because no one raised a fuss.
I know Shania Twain has done halftime shows I'm seeing here.
No one raised a fuss.
Man.
Just recently,
Oh,
these
she
had
was.
become.
Shania Twain was in the No Doubt and Sting one.
Oh, there you go. All right.
Oh, so it was a rapper, Shania Twain. I do recall it correctly. It was No Doubt Sting and Shania Twain.
Rolling Stone magazine called Shania Twain's portion of the halftime show a career-freezing bomb. Some argue that Twain, who was supposed to be the main attraction of the show, instead was overshadowed by No Doubt and Sting.
Yeah, it's no gray area there.
You get on stage with Sting, and he's tickling that bass.
Yeah.
If I ever lose my faith in you.
It started with that one, right?
I don't know.
So that's what you do. It's
I
Super
don't
Bowl.
know. It's 28 years old. I don't have any recollection of that halftime show.
The set list was Man, I Feel Like a Woman, followed by Up, another Shania Twain song.
Okay.
Just a Girl, and then Sting came out with No Doubt, and they did Message in a Bottle.
Oh, that's
There was a 4-song set in
I
2003.
like how they ended on a big upbeat note with Message in a Bottle. The crowd bonanza that is Message in a Bottle. All right, we'll be back. We never got to Mark Daniels. We'll get to him after this. Thank you for holding on, Mark. But I wanted to take some calls. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius and. Toucher and Hardy continues on the Sports Hub.
We are Toucher and Hardy. Mark Daniels covers the Patriots for Mass Live. Thank you for joining us, Mark. Sorry for keeping you on hold for that period of time.
Good morning, guys. It's all good. How's it going?
It is going well. All right. We heard, first of all, Drake May, do you think his injury impacted him in the Super Bowl and in the playoffs? And what does the future hold for him in terms of that injury?
Yeah, I do. I think anytime you need a pain-numbing injection in your throwing shoulder before the Super Bowl, it's going to impact you in some way. Was it the overriding factor? It's tough to say. I think it's sort of like that game was sort of a combination of everything for him. His offensive line wasn't very good. He had been sacked a record number of times by the time the Super Bowl was over. He hurt his shoulder, but also the Seattle Seahawks defense was really, really good. And I think some of his better offensive weapons, who are older, sort of faded down the stretch. And I think you put that all together, and that's sort of what you got, from the Pats. But in terms of his future, I mean, he's in September, week 1. Drake May's the second youngest starting quarterback in the NFL behind J.J. McCarthy. I think by the end of the season, he was number 3 behind Jackson Dart and J.J. McCarthy. I mean, Drake May is the best young quarterback in the NFL. He was a second-team All-Pro, Pro Bowler, lost MVP by 5 votes or 5 points. I think that's what it was. So he's the best young quarterback in the NFL right now. And, he had a great regular season, and I don't think, what happened in the playoffs diminishes his potential or anything. I mean, if anything, the Pats have to make sure they
not his
support
potential. I meant his throwing shoulder being hurt.
Oh, his throwing shoulder. Yeah, I mean, he said yesterday he doesn't need surgery, which was the big question. I thought that was the biggest thing that come out of his availability, is that he doesn't need surgery, which is a good thing. So, it's probably one of those things. He's going to have to rest, heal up, probably do a little bit of rehab, and then he'll be good to go come April.
The biggest story for me, though, Mark, was the status of Will Campbell, who admitted he was playing on a torn ligament in that knee, and he was historically bad in the Super Bowl and didn't look much better in the 3 playoff games coming up to this. Knowing what the team knew about Campbell and knowing, especially in the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl, that your franchise quarterback was less than 100%, why did they keep running him out there?
I think they thought a limited Will Campbell was better than the alternative. And I thought Vidarian Lowe played well in Will's absence. But, I mean, it's a good question. But I think you could say the same thing about left guard. I thought when Jared Wilson was out, Ben Brown played really well to the point where I was like, are they gonna play their start Ben Brown in the playoffs? And they didn't. And I think for them, we're going to ride with the 2 rookies. We're going to ride with Will Campbell, and we think him at whatever percent he was better than Vidarian Lowe. But I think it was like pretty clear to me in the playoffs, he wasn't the same that we saw, and I get he struggled against Myles Garrett, but who didn't? But I went through my notes, and he played in 13 regular season games. Will Campbell allowed sacks in 3 games in the regular season, so he didn't have a bad rookie season. And I get what happened in the playoffs. Sort of, it shines a spotlight on him, especially in the Super Bowl when you see NFL Next Gen stats says he allowed 14 pressures. But Will Campbell had a good rookie season, which is why the Patriots are sticking with him at left tackle. Plus, they believe he's a left tackle. And they answer your question, they just thought they were better with him, even if he wasn't 100%.
What was that stat again about him in the regular season?
So he played 13 games. He allowed sacks in 3 of them. It was against.
And how many sacks were allowed? In
one
the
of them he allowed
game?
5.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. He allowed, I believe, 4 sacks in 4 playoff games.
Okay. But he had a historically bad Super Bowl.
Yeah, according to Next Gen and PFF too. I think they both had him down for 14 pressures. He only allowed 1 sack, but yeah, he was getting pushed back a lot.
Do you think that if he wasn't the 4th overall pick in the draft, they would be this? A, he would have played in the Super Bowl the whole game, or B, that they would be so digging in on him being a left tackle?
That's a really, really good question. I know last year, going into the draft, they loved Will Campbell, and they thought he was by far the best offensive lineman in that draft. So if he's not the 4th overall pick, I think based off everything I saw in the regular season and in training camp, he was still your best option, at left tackle. So I think the answer there is yes. Like I don't think Will Campbell's as bad as everyone, on social media says he was. And I do think the MCL injury played a part in his playoff performance. So I mean, in terms of your offensive line, like I don't think their depth was great. Like their top swing tackle, Thayer Munford, who, was basically rejoined the team after being on the practice squad in the Cleveland Browns. Like, I think if anything this offseason, you need to reinforce that. You might need a replacement for right tackle. But I think they're going to roll with Will Campbell for a while here. Listen, 4th overall pick. That's a costly investment, and you got to see if you can make this work and get him healthy.
Okay. Do you think that they draft a tackle? Like, if there's a tackle sitting there at the end of the first round and they keep that pick, because Lord knows they could get Max Crosby, which is very exciting. But if they keep the first round pick and a tackle, they like a tackle at that position, do you take a tackle? Because Morgan Moses, who knows what he's going to be doing. And so, first of all, I'll ask you that. Do you take a tackle if one's available?
Yeah, I think you do. Morgan Moses, I think he was great this year, but he'll be 35 on March 3rd. And with that in mind, like your biggest priority, for me this offseason, maybe every offseason, is, how do you support Drake May?
Right.
What do you do? And like Morgan Moses, can you rely on someone who'll be 35? And Morgan and Mike Uwenu, they were a great pair. I thought the right side of your offensive line was clearly the strength, but you need I think a contingency plan there. I mean, I don't know that he's gonna, play or retire or whatnot, but at age 35, when you have, 3 grown boys at home, if someone's be like, oh yeah, Morgan's done playing football, like, oh yeah, it makes sense. What's there left to accomplish after, you've played 12 years in the NFL? But yeah, I think the Pats, they need to reinforce that line to the point where, like, yeah, first 2 rounds, if they drafted a tackle, I wouldn't be surprised, and I think it's the smart thing to do.
So and then my point would be, if you take a tackle in the first round and you get him into camp, and he shows in camp, maybe that makes the decision of what you want to do with Will Campbell. Maybe you move him to right tackle. It just makes everything easier because you have another young player in there that you invested capital in, and that makes the decision a little easier if you choose to make it.
Yeah, and like Mike Vrabel said yesterday, he's like, we're not moving Will Campbell to left guard or center or tight end. Yeah, he didn't say right tackle though. That's
there you go.
Could be an option.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Although he's played left tackle for most of his career. But I think another interesting spot to watch is left guard. I thought Jared Wilson had some nice moments, but also Jared Wilson played center in college. He never started at guard at Georgia. Like with Will Campbell, like what would have happened if they had, say, Joe Thuney at left guard? How would that have helped Will Campbell? I think it would have helped him a lot. So, do you keep Jared Wilson at left guard? Do you move him to center and then move on from Garrett Bradbury? I sort of pause at that because I thought Garrett Bradbury was really solid this year. I think I don't think he was a liability at all when it came to pass protection. So there's some decisions they have to make. I mean, allowing 21 sacks in 4 Super Bowl games is not ideal, and you need to protect your quarterback. You need to protect your biggest asset better than they did. So, whether that's signing a left guard and either making Jared Wilson a backup or a center, whether that's drafting a tackle in the first round, the Pats have some work to do, and they have to, help Drake May more.
All right. Well, Mark Daniels, it's a long off season, but it gets cooking pretty quick with the free agency and everything. We look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you, Mark.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. We're swimming in writers because Andrew Callahan is fresh back from the West Coast.
At this.
The best coast. Represent. Represent. You understand? West Side. You see what I'm doing?
I know what. Yeah, I know what you're doing. You're throwing up the sign.
West Side.
Mm-hmm.
West Side homies. Huh? I know what's going on with the halftime shows and everything. I'm tuned in. All right, Andrew.
We should go to LA next year.
Yeah, you'd love it. Andrew Callahan's going to join us in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Patriots on Sunday night. Mike Vrabel's young team came up one win short.
I thought talked about a disappointing finish to a phenomenal, exciting, enjoyable year. It's unfortunate. Talked to him about the foundation I think that we've built.
Vrabel added that Will Campbell will remain at left tackle. Also, Campbell told the media he played the playoffs on a torn ligament in his knee, and Drake May said he will not need surgery on his throwing shoulder. As for the Celtics, Jason Tatum reported no problems after a practice with the franchise's G League team this week. He refused to put any kind of expectation as to when that he will return. The Green play Chicago at TD Garden tonight, their final game before the All-Star break. Sam Hauser is expected back. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 7, the tip-off at 7:30 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Day one of workouts for pitchers and catchers yesterday in Fort Myers, Florida. Red Sox manager Alex Cora officially named Garrett Crochet as opening day starter. And at the Winter Olympics, the men's hockey tournament begins today. The U.S. opens with Latvia tomorrow. Yesterday, the women's hockey team beat Canada 5-0. They wound up 4-0 in preliminary round play. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by East Coast Metal Roofing. Never ever replace your roof again. It's East Coast Metal Roofing's New Year's Savings event where Sports Hub listeners get 10% off the new roof that's guaranteed to last a lifetime. Call 844-611-ECMR or eastcoastmetalroofing.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
Diving but he's got a breakaway. To the backhand. Throws it in front. Coming to the slot. The Sports Hub.
It's never changed. It's never changed. It's the same thing over and over and over and over. It's just never good. It wasn't funny the first time.
Toucher and Hardy, mornings on the Sports Hub.
I think we just lost. I think they made more plays than we did, and they were the better team on Sunday. And they deserved to win, and we just we couldn't. Speaking for myself, couldn't get enough going on offense to help our team win.
It's sad that we won't hear from Drake May for a while.
Yeah,
I'm gonna miss those quotes. We are Toucher and Hardy. Watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. Andrew Callahan is the Patriots reporter and columnist for the Boston Herald. He writes about other stuff, too. Don't worry. Andrew, you came in hot. Hello.
Yeah, he's upset.
What were you just doing? You were in the other room with your computer. What were you doing?
I was rewatching film of the Super Bowl. This was specifically Will Campbell for the third time in the last 36 hours. We'll have the full film breakdown up tomorrow.
All 22? What are you looking at?
All 22. I can show you.
Nice.
This is the last snap. Does that look good? No, it does not.
Let me see. Turn that around.
I mean, it's just a screen at the end of the game when you're down, 16 in the Super Bowl, yeah. John. It's not pretty. But look, like I said, I'm going to write about this tomorrow. I can't wait to write about it, though, because there's so much misinformation about the Will Campbell conversation or misunderstanding that I think just has to be cleared up. Number one, the fact he had a torn ligament is not new. That's what a grade 3 MCL sprain is.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
So Burt Breer reported this 2 months ago.
Yes.
When we knew it was an MCL sprain, grade 3, we knew it was a tear. So that stuff I think is been rephrased because he's the one who said it. Doesn't change what the reality was for a guy who was not in the injury report, practicing in full, said before the AFC Championship game, he felt like himself. This injury does not, in my mind, factor whatsoever into the Super Bowl. Number two, that said, and I was not a Will Campbell guy necessarily pre-draft, not at 4, the 14 pressures that Next Gen Stats posted is utter nonsense. I have 8. Pro Football Focus has 8. I've watched this 3 times. You cannot even get to 10 with a generous look into this. Now, 8 is bad. Like, this is not, hey, all right, you cut it in half. Down to, oh, my God, this is still horrendous. But what that did is often happens on social is it sets a narrative that you can't get away from, but in this case is absolutely absurd. Number 3, the Will Campbell conversation is really important. It's important because he's part of the future of the franchise. And if he can't play left tackle full-time in the NFL, which I'm not remotely there yet, that's obviously a huge issue. But if we're concerned about the future, there are 2 people in my mind that are going to have give me more pause and worry than Will Campbell does for next season. Number 1 is Morgan Moses, who gave up as many sacks and nearly as many pressures in that same Super Bowl. Will be 35, worse than he was this year, where Will Campbell will improve as a second-year player in the NFL. Number 2 is Doug Marrone, their offensive line coach, who, when you read and listen to Mitch Schwartz, an All-Pro, a Super Bowl champion, with the Chiefs, and guys like Teron Armstead, who went to 5 Pro Bowls, who are watching this tape and
We're
posting.
aware because of Jonathan.
Okay,
Jonathan
great.
wanted to feel better.
So they tell you these are fixable issues. And look, those are things I needed pointed out to me by guys who know better about offensive line. But when you start to look and see for yourself, the fact that sometimes Will not anchor when he's making contact. Like, you even think if you were in a bar fight backing up and trying to make contact with someone, what happens when they're the one coming forward at you and you're the one going backwards? You'll probably continue to go backwards. You need to set your feet in the ground. Number 2 is there were 2 protection schemes in this game that Seattle abused from start to finish. So whether it's the technical stuff about the timing of punches and the footwork that Doug Marrone and his 2 assistant offensive line coaches are not fixing, or the fact that Seattle knew by formation in front how to get to Drake May with all these free runners, that shouldn't have happened in the fourth quarter the way that it was in the first quarter, but it did, and those lack of adjustments and technical problems are a much bigger issue to me than a 22-year-old left tackle who had a horrible game, but 2 weeks earlier in the AFC Championship game gave up 2 pressures when he was finally healthy.
So you're saying the Teron Armstead stuff is very valuable?
Yeah, I think. And
I
I
think so too.
But in fairness, there's other. I know, John. You wanted to make yourself feel better, but there are other offensive linemen that I've heard saying things like these are physical problems that aren't going to go away, like his lack of strength, his lack of arm length, but like his lack of base strength, like that is something that would concern me. If I was the team evaluating him and it was an issue of strength, these are physical things that can't be improved. Just that it kind of is what he is. So I did hear that from people too. I don't doubt that he's fundamentally unsound, but does that lack of fundamentals come from a position that he's being overpowered?
Yeah, or a play style, right? Like some Andrew Whitworth, another, maybe he might be a future Hall of Famer at left tackle. Is like, look, Will plays like a guy who's as big as I am, 6'8", 340, 330. That's not him. He's barely 6'6". He's maybe 320, kind of narrow through the legs. And so to that power point, like he can do more squats, and he's an elite athlete for the position. But instead of kind of saying, all right, come to me with all these edge rushers who then can go around him because of his wingspan, or sometimes get through to him with power, as you saw in the first snap of the game with a bull rush from Nwosu, he might need to bring the fight to them because you've got that agility and that athleticism to kind of close space with a different type of set. Either way, whether it's the minutia of the timing of the punch or the footwork or the bigger picture of you need to change your sets or this and that, again, that's a big coaching piece. They have 3 offensive line coaches. What we saw in the Super Bowl, either from Will Campbell or from the offensive line as a whole and schematically, should not have happened.
Okay, but if you are planning around the deficiencies of your left tackle, wouldn't it be easier just to get a guy that's a better left tackle?
Well, but my thing is, those deficiencies, are they to a level where he is a replacement level player, or is this something like, I understand your point.
But my concern is, like, if someone says he's playing like he's my size, then it's like, well,
it's a change of mindset
then get someone that guy's size. Get someone who's traditionally the size of the position, that's not narrow, that has longer arms, that is heavier.
Well, Vadarian Lowe has longer arms and he's taller, and he's worse than Will Campbell.
Do you think he would have played worse in the Super Bowl?
I have no way of knowing. I think, look, we probably would have seen something in the same neighborhood. Like, Seattle's really good.
Mm-hmm.
But to say, could he have had less or fewer than 8 pressures? Probably. But I don't think that changes how I look at Will Campbell's season on the whole, which, to Mark's point earlier, like I had him down for more games with a sack than just 3. And he gave up multiple pressures in all but 3 games, which is what happens when you're 21 or 22 and playing left tackle in the NFL. But to me, it's what do you do now? Because there were always these deficiencies, but can you get around them? Can he be an above-average starter? There were multiple games he showed that this year, in what should be the worst year of his career.
Did you see more in the way of adjustments earlier in the season that the offensive line coaches were able to make either in-game or from week to week that they didn't do in the Super Bowl, or was the level of competition so much lower that they didn't have to adjust for that much?
No, I mean, there were some, right? Like, you remember that Browns game, and Myles Garrett is just kind of like, whee, through the turnstile. And
I remember just Drake rolling more out to the right in that game.
Well, you run away from him. You run play action in their direction. You have screens, draws, all these different things. To me, it's not as much like the adjustment piece, so that was a problem in the Super Bowl. It was how long it took you to get to those adjustments. Like, you remember the Houston game, and Will Anderson is doing his best Myles Garrett impression right around Will, who, look, if you need someone to do a Myles Garrett impression, it's Will Anderson. But the point is, they were so late to send Chip help. All right, we'll give you Hunter Henry to give you a little help, Will, on this. That, to me, it was a bigger problem than it needed to be, and they mitigated it too late. This was another case there where they sent him help in the Super Bowl, but there wasn't as much schematically that I thought they did to stress Seattle. Like, everything from protection to the routes was just so hard. And you're like, why? They're great. They're a historically good defense, but you don't have to ask everyone to win one-on-one because you're not going to do that against a more talented team.
Explain further. How are they making him win one-on-one?
So, first it gets into
because wasn't it a 4-man rush most of the time?
So what I'm talking about is some of that is the front schematics of it. So when you had one of the earlier blitzes where they line up, I think it was a 5 or 6 man front, and the defensive tackles drop out over the middle, which created an open blitzer from Devin Witherspoon, who comes unblocked, and Drake May has to throw it away at the end of the first drive. What that did was you line up everyone across from you, and you only have so many options as an offensive line. And it's basically take the guy in front of you. When that guy drops, you still have one-on-ones on the edges, and then further outside, because you just don't have offensive linemen for days, guys who come unblocked. So there's a manipulation part of this that, again, Seattle outcoached the Patriots, the defensively, that when they set up those one-on-ones, it's not just, hey, Kayshon Boutte, you got to get open. He's driven into the sideline. It's they're creating matchups even when it's a 4-on-5, because what they're showing you is something different than what actually comes after the snap.
All right, so disguising threw Drake off a little bit. One of the things we had worried about was would he be up to the task of seeing some tricks and some stunts being pulled by the defense? Would he be ready for that? But the other thing that you just mentioned was, all right, even if he weren't ready for it, if there's someone open and he can get the ball out when he's seeing something he's not expecting, it seems like because they were able to apply pressure by only rushing 4, they had everyone covered downfield, and guys, with the exception of a couple of key plays, and we all saw them in real time, and I'm sure you've seen them since then, where Drake just missed open guys, didn't see them, didn't throw to them, or did throw to them and missed the open receiver. But I'd say for the most part, Seattle was doing a good job of covering, which they were able to do because they were only sending 4 in the first place.
Yes, and look, some of this stuff downfield, too, is just as rough as the protection, if we're being honest. Like, we remember that Kayshon Boutte route along the left sideline. It was a 3rd down, and it was a curl, and Josh Jobe just, elbowed him out of bounds. Like, that was a bad route from start to finish. Austin Hooper, Nate Tice from Yahoo Sports has tweeted this clip a couple of times.
Yeah.
A corner route that just goes flat, and he slows down. But the concept that McDaniels...
Is that the one where May missed Hooper when he was wide open?
Yeah.
That was so Hooper gave up on that route.
He slowed down, and the angle he took was not a 45-degree, which you're supposed to do on a corner route. This was something closer. No one's getting out the protractor, but 30 degrees flat towards the sideline. You're like, what's going on? What? At least go full speed if you're going to run the wrong route. And he did neither, running the right route or going full speed. So this is the stuff where people love to do, oh, was it Drake? Or was it the coaching? Or was it the protection of the receivers? When it's this bad, it's everybody. You're just doing blame pie now. I start very closely with coaching, and then you could argue second or third Drake, and then the protection and the receivers. If you really want to divvy it up, protection is number 1, but that's going to include coaching and players. Then I would go Drake within a bad scheme for McDaniels and the receivers, but there's no one's getting absolved from this kind of performance.
So you think McDaniels did a bad job in the playoffs overall?
I don't think overall because
they struggled offensively the entire playoff.
No, for sure. But I think the issues that arose each week were different. So number 1 is getting adjusted to a playoff level defense, and what does that do to Drake, who had his clock sped up in that Chargers game, which you also saw in this game. And it's no accident that the defensive coordinator then, now the head coach of the Ravens, Jesse Minter, runs a similar scheme and has a similar approach to Mike McDonald, who obviously turned the Patriots inside out as a head coach of the Seahawks. That pressure early in that Chargers game sped up Drake May in the same way you saw in the Super Bowl. Seattle's not a big blitz team, but what they wanted to do was to upset Drake May and have that same internal clock sped up, understanding there's going to be, a domino effect throughout the rest of the game. And to Hardy's point, they didn't blitz a whole lot after the first quarter. They go, okay, our job is done here. So you go into the second game where May eventually overcomes that Chargers defense and settles down and makes some big throws. You have a front four that is the best in football. And that's not a big blitzing team. It's also a team that plays you straight up. Seattle doesn't. They like to disguise. They like to play too high. And Houston, you beat downfield and beat the occasional blitz, but it wasn't the same challenge. And then you get to the AFC Championship game. It's the snow. May still rattled a little bit in the first quarter. And then you're dealing with, do we want to just let the air out of the ball because we have a lead and Jarrett Stidham's on the other side?
No, I understand when it was the snowstorm that they, by design, were just not
throwing balls out of bounds. Right?
Yeah, they were not looking to move the ball downfield.
Not a great postseason for McDaniels, but the Super Bowl was the worst thing. And there were just so many smaller things that I just wondered, okay, at halftime he's pulling a lot of levers, but there are a couple of things I would go to, and he just didn't go to any of them. And it was the 6 offensive lineman stuff that had revived their run game. They used that once in this entire game. Do you remember that play?
No.
Play action, Kayshon Boutte, 21 yards in the first quarter.
They had a 6th offensive lineman in for that
6 offensive linemen for that play.
Okay.
And never went back to it. You didn't have them in empty, which is one of the smallest soft spots for Seattle. And granted, when you have protection issues, you don't really like to leave your quarterback.
Well, they went empty on a
island.
3rd and 1. Do you remember that play?
It was the Pop Douglas downfield.
They didn't get the first down.
Yeah, and then they punted on 4th and 1. And you're like, is Mike Vrabel still the head coach? What's going on here?
Because they went. I just thought it was
frustrating.
That they went empty on a 3rd and 1 when they
were able to gain yards rushing the football. You had a Ramondre Stevenson run for 5.
It's funny you mentioned that Kayshon Boutte play because I remember watching it and said, "Man, that looked easy." For the Patriots, that was something where the Seattle defense did not look like the Seattle defense on that one play. Now, to think that it would work time and time again is foolish, but you'd think they would at least go back to it once if it works so well for them on that play.
And I'm not going to give Thayer Munford all the credit in the world for standing there when Kayshon Boutte is the one running the route and Drake makes the throw. But the point is, that had put stress on defenses in a way that you weren't putting any stress on the defense, whether it's empty, whether it's the unbalanced stuff, whether you have any trick plays, which I think everyone going into the Super Bowl would be like, Josh has got something up his sleeve.
I know. How many passes to Vrabel did we see in the Super Bowl? I mean, there should have been something.
Well,
I agree.
They weren't having great success with trick plays, though, if you recall in the playoffs. They looked a little scattered. I have to give McDaniels a break on that because they tried in the playoffs. Remember Chisholm with the big time throw to Drake May?
Yes.
That was awesome.
They didn't look great. They didn't look great on the trick.
Okay, so in terms of things like kind of coming to fruition and whether Will Campbell's injury or just lack of ability or stuff that got exposed a little bit. Maybe Drake May and his inexperience got exposed a little bit. Seattle came out afterward and said, one of the linebackers said, we knew going into the game, only thing we had to worry about was Drake May. So did the, let's say, less than elite talent surrounding Drake May also get exposed in that game?
Yeah, for sure. And I've said this throughout the playoffs, is that it's a crucible. Like, you get put under pressure at every part of your roster, every part of your coaching staff. Your weaknesses are exposed, your strengths are mitigated. How do you work around that? And what I mean by that is the weaknesses that have always kind of been there for the Patriots, pass protection, right, really became a problem in the playoffs. Your receivers, Steph Diggs was outstanding versus zone. He was fine versus man this year, but there's no explosion there aside from a Kyle Williams or Trayvon Henderson, who for different reasons the Patriots didn't totally trust as rookies to play all that offense. So if you're Seattle, you're going, if we have to worry just about a jump ball to Kayshon Boutte, Diggs in zone who we can lean towards, Pop Douglas doesn't play a whole lot, Matt Collins is going to be another jump ball guy, who are we really afraid of when we've got the corners that we do and the safeties that we do that can cover and play physically? No one. So to me, you needed players who could give you what Josh McDaniels didn't in the Super Bowl. And those are easy, free yards. You remember Pop Douglas had like an 8-yard catch, made a man miss, and you're like, whoa, that was fun. That was nice. That was easy. There was nothing
players
like
in
that.
space and let them let them take off from there.
One note, just because you had me shaky here, Fred, when you mentioned being empty in 3rd and 1. There was a back in the backfield, and Ramondre was there. But to your point about like going spread in that instance, that's a play call that you go, well, why are you throwing if you're not going to run it on 4th and 1? Or why not just run it twice, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1? So it's just smaller stuff and bigger picture that you go, this was basic, it was straightforward, didn't have a lot of motion, no quarterback run game, right? I really was underwhelmed and surprised by the lack of help that McDaniels gave the offense.
All right. Andrew Callahan is here. We can move into the future, and we can maybe even take some calls. We'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening to Touch.
It's kind of more my agents. They'll deal with that and keep me up to speed on it. My agents and Braves and all that. They'll talk to you all that.
But there's no question you want to be here.
Oh yeah, no doubt. This where I got drafted, and I don't want to be anywhere else.
All right, taking that to Christian Gonzalez, talking about his future, where he will probably set the market for corners as this team goes on. Andrew Callahan from the Herald is here. Bob, go ahead.
Hey, guys, enjoy the show. I was wondering, a friend of mine that's really into the games and all this said to me yesterday, he says, I'm hoping in the last many years, and everybody would agree, we haven't even talked about it, the Patriots were an absolute debacle for quite a period of time. This year they absolutely made a change, came back. That's all said and done. And everyone's talking about, well, yeah, we're all set. What happens if my buddy says that, Bob, what happens if they don't turn around? Yes, hopefully they're going to get some help. But regardless, what happens if they go back? Because given what happened Sunday, what a debacle. I mean, and it ain't just because they lost. The game was over before it even started.
Well, I don't know why you would think they'd go back because they made the Super Bowl and they played poorly there. I will speak for you, Andrew, in that, I believe. Do you think the team is due to the Super Bowl, going to fall back into a wasteland?
No, I think they'll have a worse record next year, but they might be a better team. And either way, I said on my podcast Monday, I think they're going to go back to the Super Bowl within the next 5 years because of Drake May and Mike Vrabel.
Do you think that they'll need to win the division to make the playoffs next year?
No.
Okay.
We were talking about
mostly because almost half the teams make the playoffs from each conference.
Yeah,
You know
but
what I
we
mean?
counted like 15 playoff
Don't
teams.
forget, Mahomes didn't get in last year. Burrow didn't get in last
I
year.
did forget about that.
Yeah, so
come on. You're better than that.
So listen, Bills, Steelers,
I know
Ravens, Bengals, Jacksonville, Houston, Indianapolis, Denver, Los Angeles, Kansas City, and you.
Yeah.
You're definitely not catching as many breaks as this year. This was, in a lot of ways, the most fortunate Patriots team I've ever covered. And we talked about the schedule to death. But can we stop with the Joe Burrow's going to be back? Because their problem has been, A, his health, and B, their defense. And I don't know if they fixed either of those. So
they still didn't have a terrible record, and they had less than ideal quarterback play. I don't think it's ridiculous to think that the Bengals could win 10 games. I don't think that's
it's not ridiculous,
notion.
but I think if it's not off by one, I think they've missed the playoffs more often in Joe Burrow's tenure than they've made it.
Oh, I don't doubt that, but they also made a Super Bowl with Joe Burrow, so you have to, they're not a speed bump. They are a team that's capable of beating people. So, fine. And even if you take them out, that's still a lot of teams. Tim, go ahead.
Yeah, Andrew, in your opinion, what was so difficult about a decision at the end of the half to change that offensive line and go in a different direction? You had four, veteran coaches sitting on the sidelines or upstairs. What's your analysis of that? Why wouldn't they make some type of move? Drake May is the most important person on that team, and I still can't figure out why they didn't make any adjustments on that line.
Okay.
So it sounds like he's talking about personnel.
Yes. Why did they not swap in new personnel?
So this is another part of the Will Campbell conversation I didn't mention in the first segment. When you break down, again, I had it for 8 pressures. That sucks. There's no other way to read into that. 3 of them were over the first 3 quarters. So Tim's talking about halftime. You didn't identify Will Campbell at that point as like this black hole that's sucking the rest of the offense in. To me, the issue, again, was you had mismatches there, don't get me wrong. Seattle's got a really good defensive front. Schematically, they were getting their butts kicked. Devin Witherspoon coming through multiple times into the backfield unblocked, as well as other Seahawks, was the issue. So the adjustment that they needed to make at halftime or even in the second quarter was, okay, when they're bringing these, when we're in this protection, we need to be more aware of these double B-gap blitzes where 2 guys are zipping through the same gap, or when they go to a diamond front, which means like a 5 down, there's someone over the nose. We got to be wary of other guys coming off the edge because the last time we saw this, guys in the middle were dropping back. And that's the stuff that got Drake May under the most direct and instant pressure. It wasn't Will Campbell getting his butt kicked. That was mostly in the fourth quarter. Still important, still bad. But to Tim's question about halftime, that's where I would have had my focus.
Yeah, well, Collinsworth was certainly in on the play of Will Campbell before the fourth quarter. If you were watching it on TV, you were getting a whole earful about Will Campbell, including replays. So you have to understand that the audience at home being shown to you over and over again. Will Campbell getting beat, getting pushed back, getting pushed into the quarterback. We saw a lot of it. So that's sort of rare during a game of that magnitude where they're pointing to an offensive lineman and showcasing him and showing you over and over again his mistakes. That's not something that happens every day. They usually focus on the ball.
Do you remember 2007? This is a Red Sox poll. It was game 5 or 6. Well, you might remember this. The Red Sox were at Cleveland in the ALCS. They had Josh Beckett, who was pitching that night, his ex-girlfriend sing the national anthem.
And then he went out and dominated Cleveland to win the game clincher. Yeah, series clincher. Yes.
You're describing is like if they asked Will Campbell's ex-girlfriend to produce for NBC that first 3 quarters. If that's exactly how it was, again, he wasn't good through the first 3 quarters. The fourth was the worst. Their issues were coaching. So, it's good for Collinsworth to point that out, but it sounds like the attention they paid to it might not have been worth it, unless, of course, you had, some bad history with Will Campbell.
I mean, you're dismissing that he's not, that he's a big problem. You're saying that that he's not a big problem. That's what I'm getting out of this, and this is how we can put a bow on this.
What I'm saying is there were bigger problems in the first 3 quarters than Will Campbell, and he was a problem. Don't get me wrong here. The coaches had a worse day through most of that game than Will Campbell did.
Okay, you're really in the weeds with this game, my friend. You're three views in.
That's the job.
Yeah,
it's the last time I do this for 8 months.
Your brain is starting
to. You get into the flourish.
I mean, you might be overthinking this whole thing a little bit, but what do I know? All right,
we can watch it together. I got time for a 4th replay here.
No, I'm all right.
You sure?
No, I can. It's on NFL Network.
I can't wait for the column. The column's going to be like a Hurley manifesto. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, no one needs me breaking down all.
Guys,
22.
when I did this every Sunday for 2, 4, and 13 teams after an 8-9 team led by a Matt Patricia offense, I'm going to take my time with the Super Bowl, as bad as it was.
All right,
and plenty of practice dissecting coaching mishaps.
Yes,
I can't wait.
All right, well, fire that offensive line coach. He's a real stick in the mud. All right, so anyway. We now move on to the 2026 season, and here we are. We have ourselves this young third-year quarterback MVP candidate. You have yourself a dominant defense. Let's start with the defense. Are they set up for success into the future?
Yeah, I think so. You've got a strong middle now. Like Craig Woodson was the best player in the field for the Patriots defense. That starts at safety. Robert Spillane, that's an injury to me that affected his play. Good at middle linebacker. Milton Williams, Christian Barmore. Barmore was a no-show in the Super Bowl. But outside of that, Christian Gonzalez, like you said, is probably going to be the highest-paid corner in the league. So it's like a baseball team. If you're good down the middle, I think they are. You need some help with the edge rush. And maybe another corner in case Carlton Davis falls off, though I thought he was good. But, yeah, this defense should expect to be top 10, top 12 next year.
Who's calling plays for this defense next year? I asked you this last month. You kind of threw it aside, but I think this is going to be an issue.
It's a great question because Mike Vrabel's answer yesterday told me, because I think he's more honest at the podium than it's taken me all season to kind of come around to. Just knowing football coaches who lie as well as they coach football, that when he said there's a lot to go through, primarily Terrell Williams' health, and how well Zach Core has coached, in my opinion.
They were elite with Zach Core directing them.
They don't know. And what they did was kind of find an identity late that was impressive to me because there was always a schematic flexibility. But to say, this is who we are, this is what we're going with, which is a real risk-reward approach with that high blitz rate, took some cojones. And so Zach Core was good. But, I mean, Terrell Williams is a deserved defensive coordinator. I sat down with him a week and a half ago. I mean, we talked mostly about his cancer diagnosis and recovery. He's in better health. It's just a matter of, are you in good health, or are you in health that allows you to get through an 80-hour week for 6-7 months straight in the course of a football season?
Two different kinds of health.
Yes.
All right, so say Max Crosby, indeed, he gets out of Dodge.
Yeah.
They're trying to convince him to stay, apparently. But say he gets out of Dodge. They end up trading him. The scenario that I saw would be a late first or an early second, so the late first for the Patriots, and an existing young offensive player, to which they don't want Henderson, so I don't know who that would be. Seriously, like what offensive player do they have that's young that would be trade bait.
Can I interest you in a Pop Douglas?
And then Then you got to think something else in
yeah,
too.
I was just going to say, I don't think that's enough.
Then you got to throw in a fifth or
Conditional
something.
fifth.
Okay, there
Fred,
you go.
I think we just hammered this out.
Look at us. We should be GMs. A GM I could do. GM I could do. Not all 22. I like GM. I like the draft. Do you make that deal? Do you give up future assets?
Yes.
Okay.
Hell yeah. Oh my gosh. There are moves every year that we go. We spend weeks and shows and months talking about they should trade for this guy. They have to sign this guy. We're going to do it again. Max Crosby is his name, and the answer everyone should have is yes. This team just got to the Super Bowl. And one of the underrated numbers I had for my film study is they only had one pressure in the second half when they didn't blitz. So when K'Lavon Chaisson is really holding up the tent here for you on the edge,
And he might be gone
in the middle, and he's going to get paid. Give me the guy who's had 10 sacks in something like 5 straight seasons, who's been to several Pro Bowls, 28 years old, is a hand-in-glove fit for this culture. And as far as I understand it, the Patriots really like him. So I don't want to say I don't know what we're waiting for. You've got to let the market play out, let Max apply his leverage. He likes Vrabel. But to me, this is a move that, it's not just fan fantasy or this is just radio talk. This is a football move the New England Patriots should pursue with everything they have and get him on board.
Why would that
year.
be fan fantasy? He's a guy who wants to trade. He's going to be 29
and
years old.
And reportedly wants to play for the Patriots.
Well, you know how this goes, though, because, people like me come in and it's like, you have to consider the salary cap. Then you have to consider the locker room structure. And then upcoming extensions for Drake May or Chris Gonzalez, blah, 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 blah.
Tend to poo-poo these moves.
And now people like me, or just me, are saying, pounding the table, go trade for Max Crosby, give up the number 31 pick. Pop Douglas, Ethan Chisholm is waiting right behind him for that job.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He's white as the driven snow. I'll tell you this.
Real quickly, is knee going to be all right? Is he going to be 100%?
Who?
Max Crosby.
Last time I talked to him, which was never, but I think so.
The story is
that he was actually healthy.
The story is he just underwent surgery.
Right.
He's not going to be healthy until at least the NFL draft. So that would stop any trade from happening until he gets through his rehab and people can evaluate
that's right.
him.
Okay. All right. So,
You don't have to talk to him to have some information about his knee.
He's a wiseacre.
That was a bit of a prick thing to say, wasn't it?
I don't know. I'm so into this all 22. I can't tell you. We're diamond formation and things of that nature.
Hey, just quit effing around and just promote Chisholm. How about that?
That's right. That's right. You're a man of great linguistic skills.
Credit to my guy Doug Hyde. It was first on the quit effing around.
All right, just one last question. I'd be remiss because I have more people coming up to me because you're
a GM.
Well, they ask if I know. This is kind of a pivot. You watched the game 3 times. Did Sam Darnold play poorly?
No.
Was he being extra? Because this is what I tell people. I want your opinion. Was he being extra cautious towards the end of the game?
Yes.
Okay, so some of those missed throws might have been erring on the side of caution.
A couple.
Okay.
Yeah. But the best thing he did was avoid sacks.
Right. Well, no, yeah, I saw that. I mean, listen, he played way better than May. I mean, he avoided the sacks. We only got sacked once, right?
And he had a couple really nice throws, but on balance, it was like an average game when you consider quality of opponent and JSN missing some series and JSN really not being productive, which is partly on Darnold. But I thought he was fine.
Well, you got to give Gonzalez credit, too. Was Gonzalez on JSN? And I say JSN because I don't like pronouncing his name and saying the whole thing. I'm not friends with him or playing that role. I'm going to say JSN, though, because I can't stand. And if I mispronounce the name, it could come out wrong. Mm-hmm. I don't need that. So was it Gonzalez basically on him?
Yes, but the cool part was even when he was shadowing Smith and Jigba, they would play different variations of man coverage. So when he would go in motion as a way to kind of get Gonzalez off of him, sometimes they would bump assignments. So Gonzo would take the guy now closest to him, and JSN would go in motion, and the next guy would have him. Or they'd shadow and it'd be in zone. They did a really good job of making sure Gonzo was always around. But not always covering him.
Hey,
Yeah,
the
but
Muppet.
maybe-
you can say JSN. He could say Gonzo.
Maybe the
Gonzalez is easy to say.
Maybe the offensive coaches can sit in on some defensive coaches' powwows and figure out how to, make adjustments. And
I like
stuff.
that. Yeah, a little powwow. Before Fred takes us to break, I have, in case of a tie here with 2 stats and a lie, a second edition. I got double barrel 2 stats and a lie if we need to break
Well,
this.
you're going to have to also figure out what the scoring of this is because John and I remember it differently than Adam and Hardy.
You're the only one who remembers it differently.
I also thought you were down 2.
Well, I'm not.
Kaboom.
I thought you were down 2
and
entering
if you were
today
wrong
and
about
couldn't
that,
win.
you could be wrong about anything.
He was at 4. Nick got him 2 points, so it's 7-6-6.
7-7.
No.
7-7-6.
See, you didn't even know it. So now I doubt you.
Hardy keeps the score. There it is.
I was under the impression of after last time that Hardy could not tie or win.
It was 7-4-6 when Nick got Hardy the 2 points, which would make it 7-6-6. Correct?
No.
Am I right about this or am I wrong about this?
No, it was.
I know that
John
Hardy-
and I have 7.
Okay. That's established. Hardy went from 4 to 6, but then did not pick up another point.
Ryan,
That's
can you have Ryan pull the tape from last week? Where we
Nobody
give the
got it
scores.
last week.
Yeah, but we gave the scores before we played last week, and nobody got it right last week. So we just take the scores from last week, and they should be the same.
I think Fred has 8, actually.
That's right. That's right. And I get the big prize of nothing if I win. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sport.
buddy and me.
With friends like these,
About to climb up a tree.
you know.
We're the best friends that can be, my buddy and me.
Now,
Me.
more of your best morning buddies, Toucher and Hardy, on the Sports Hub.
Papa's got two stats, but just one line. Papa's got two stats, but just one line. Gotta make up your mind. Oh, which one is the lie?
All right. Andrew Callahan is here on Toucher and Hardy. The idea is 2 stats and 1 lie. Did we get a verdict on the score?
Yes, we do. We have pulled the tape from last week, and this is how it went down on the air. That puts Fred at 6, me at 5, Wallach at 7.
No, you're
No.
at 6
No, you're
now,
at 6.
Hardy, because that was 2 points.
I'm at 7.
You got it right.
Yeah,
So-
Fred and Nick got it right, and I got it wrong. So Fred and I are at 7, and you're at 6.
Correct.
With 2 weeks left.
All right. With 2 weeks left.
Before
was the
we
beginning of
did
the segment
last week, which nobody got right. So the score remains Fred 7, Wallach 7, me 6.
Okay.
Now, I have an idea as to how we should do this today.
He desperately wants to win, even though he's behind by 1.
No. I can tie, and then we'll do a tiebreaker. But we'll do this quickly here. A lot of people suggested we should have written ballots. I said, well, that would take away from the discussion. We can still have the discussion. We can even try and throw each other off the scent. But when it comes time to vote, we all write them down at the same time and don't tell anyone else what we're voting.
Huh?
Secret ballot is what this
Secret
comes
ballot.
down to.
Sure. Okay.
All right.
Do whatever you want.
Envelopes?
Yes, let's go get envelopes, everyone. Let's make this as visually stimulating as possible.
That's why I said we can still have the discussion. It doesn't have to, there's no visual element to it. You will write down your selection.
And you like it.
Taking this right to 9, I see. Great.
I'll just. Should I just plan to stay for another one?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's probably a good bet.
Probably. If there's going to be tiebreakers and everything else and all
we have
kinds
to go
of
through.
stuff.
We have to go through this again. Yeah.
Yeah, so
All
maybe
right.
you give us the 3 clues and then we'll break and then we'll come back and decide
Okay.
this whole
idea.
thing.
That sounds good.
All right.
We're ready.
Ballots ready?
Yes.
Number 1. Drake May.
Oh, hold on a second.
Yeah, you got to get this.
All right, testing 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Let's do this. It takes 2 stats from the other night. And one lie, see if you can get it right.
And 1 lie C if you can get it right.
He pronounced the words correctly.
So
And 1 line C if you can get it right.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting intonation there. All right. What is number 1?
Number 1. Drake May had a higher passer rating than Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl. Number 1. Drake May had a higher passer rating than Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl. Number 2. Christian Gonzalez has longer arms than Will Campbell. Number 2.
All right.
Christian Gonzalez has longer arms than Will Campbell.
Do you mean Gonzo?
I wrote Gonzo just to get my
I wrote it too.
get my
Unlike Max Crosby, I talked to him so I can call him Gonzo. Number 3. Multiple players who played 1 playoff game this year had more postseason receiving yards than Stephon Diggs. Multiple players who only appeared in 1 playoff game had more postseason receiving yards this year than Stephon Diggs.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
Okay.
All right. We can have a little bit of discussion. Well, Hardy already saw my ballot, the first one. The first one is true.
Well, I mean, the first one
It's true.
I think is true, but and it's based on what Drake May did in the fourth quarter.
Yes,
Yes.
The first one is true.
I would agree with that.
Because I remember looking at the box score and going, I can't think May has a better passer rating than Sam Darnold. So 1 is true.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's he says it's not true, then we're going to get into what rating you used, and then that's going to be a whole situation.
There's only 1 passer rating. Promise.
Okay. There's QB rating, passer rating. There's two different numbers on the box
Next
score.
gen.
There's not.
PFF.
I'm telling you there is. All right.
In terms of Gonzo, having greater arm length. Did you say wingspan or arm length?
He said longer
It's a free-for-all.
arms. Longer arms is what he said.
As measured at the NFL Combine, arm length.
The fact that you were able to somehow procure...
Do you want to know my thinking on this, if I'm being fair, is that he's got such a boner for Will Campbell today being good that it's going to be false. That he's like knee-deep in Will Campbell adulation.
I resent that description, not because he used the word boner, but I said several times that he was bad in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he's on this whole tear that he's not that bad a player. So I would say 2 is the lie. But we will break.
Okay.
And I would just say about number 3, I'm getting a little hung up on him saying multiple players who only played in one playoff game have more receiving yards than Stephon Diggs. I think there could be one player.
Oh.
Interesting.
All
Yeah,
right.
All right.
Okay, we'll be back in just a moment.
Toucher and Hardy. 98.5 The Sports.
Vrabel added that despite his struggles in the Super Bowl, Campbell's staying at left tackle. Drake May will not need surgery on his throwing shoulder, and he said it was the hit in Denver that got him hurt. Celtics play Chicago at TD Garden tonight after a couple of days off. This is the team's final game before the All-Star break. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 7 and the tip-off at 7:30 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Jason Tatum is still out, but took part in practice with the Maine Celtics and reported no problems afterwards. Red Sox manager Alex Cora officially named Garrett Crochet his opening day starter yesterday. And at the Winter Olympics, the men's ice hockey tournament begins today. The U.S. opens with Latvia tomorrow. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Modern Standing. Don't overpay for metal roofing. Modern Standing Seam Metal Roofing saves you thousands of dollars. Certified installation and lifetime products. Call 844-230-9300. modernmetal.org. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
Deep three, violent two-hand slam. Wow.
98.5 The Sports Hub. Hey, listen, if you've got to go, we understand, but make sure you bring the Sports Hub app with you so you can hear more of Toucher and Hardy
That's what I want on my tombstone.
on the Sports Hub.
Two stats, but only one lie. Andrew Callahan is here with 2 stats and 1 lie.
Andrew Callahan is here. We are Toucher and Hardy. Watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. 2 stats and 1 lie. It's 7-6. John and I have 7 points. Hardy has 6 points.
No, 7-6-6.
No, it's 7-7-6. It is 7-7-6. That's what it is. Stop. Yes, Andrew, Jesus Christ, you have no instincts. It's 7-7-6. All right, here we go. Let's not get bogged down in numbers. All right. Can you read the questions again, or the statistics again, Andrew?
You're serious this time?
I'm dead serious.
Okay, good. Number 1, Drake May had a higher passer rating than Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl. Number 2, Christian Gonzalez has longer arms than Will Campbell. 3, multiple players who appeared in just one playoff game this year had more postseason receiving yards than Stephon Diggs.
All right, I will go first. 1 is true, and that's out.
I thought we were doing ballots, right?
Yeah, but you haven't written down.
Okay.
I don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah, let's not get bogged down in minutia.
Okay.
I could see just when Stern draws things out, I get a little antsy. I don't like it. So let's cut to the chase.
He's comparing himself to Howard Stern now. Go ahead, Fred.
Oh yeah, I'm the local version of Howard Stern. I'm right up there. Make 1/500th of salary. All right. May did have a higher passer rating than Darnold. In 2 and 3, who knows? So I'm saying 2 is the lie because of Andrew's full-on erection he has for Will Campbell today. He came in hot about how everyone's being too tough on Will Campbell. So I am saying that he rides the being too tough on Will Campbell and says that his arms are longer than Christian Gonzalez's. That is my thinking. So 2 is the lie.
It's really because Will played on 2 torn ACLs the entire year. That's more.
2 torn ACLs?
Yeah.
Both knees?
He didn't even. Yeah, I don't even think he had a full knee. I think it was just 1 knee.
Okay.
All right, John. I want you to hold up your paper
right here.
I'll go next.
All right.
All right.
John has cheated before.
Yeah, when he's over there Googling, we made him wear oven mitts for a couple of weeks during this segment. The multiple players having more receiving yards than Stephon Diggs, even though they only played in 1 playoff game. I picked up on that. I believe there's a chance that it's either a complete lie or there was only 1 player that had more receiving yards in his 1 playoff game than Stephon Diggs had the entire postseason. So I'm going with number 3 as being the lie.
Okay, if you were correct, that will put us into a tie.
Okay. Obviously, I agree with you guys. 1 is absolutely true. The second one, my first instinct was, how the hell are we supposed to know who has longer arms and who doesn't? And not knowing that, I wouldn't feel bad about it. I think Stephon Diggs didn't do much in the AFC Championship game. He had 4 catches for short yards in the Super Bowl. So I'm thinking that 3, and I have it written down, 3 is indeed the lie. So you and I agree on this.
I'm letting you know right now that I'm pulling up the box score for the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Because I want to keep my eye on there is a QBR and an rating. There is, too, on the stat
Are
sheet.
you on ESPN?
Yes.
ESPN owns QBR. That's why they put it there.
Hell yeah.
You go. I have the actual box score right here.
Okay.
You can take a look if you want.
Well, it shouldn't matter. But
so you have 2. Hardy and I have 3 is the lie.
Yeah. Well, 1 is true.
One is
I'm
true.
looking at
Yep.
it now.
Yep.
1 is true. So which is the lie?
So for the 2025 2 stats and a lie championship belt, the lie was number 2.
Freddie T is the winner. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. And what it was knowledge of the game for the passer rating, and then doubling up on the flip side, animal instinct, almost telepathic, knowing he came in here hot on Will Campbell, so he was going to throw a short arm thing in there because he was going to defend Will Campbell even in 2 stats and 1 lie.
2, 2, 2, the 2, 2, the 2 stats. 1, 1, 1, the 1, 1, the 1 lie. 2, 2, 2, the 2, 2, the 2 stats. 1 lie, 1 lie, 2 stats, 1 lie.
Congratulations, Fred.
I'll tell you, it feels good. And it feels good because of the ways I just outlined.
What an improvement from last year, too.
Indeed.
Big turnaround.
I understood the game this year. It was a big step for me. But I had looked at the passer ratings and saw that right after the game, and I'm like, what the hell's going on?
79.1 to 74.7.
No, that one, I knew immediately.
Yeah,
immediately was true.
But you know who had the instincts to come in right away and say 1 is true? That's the first one he's ever done where I knew for a fact 1 was true. Like I knew for a fact because Darnold's QBR was higher, much higher than Drake May's, but we weren't going QBR, we were going rating, which is what I had focused on.
So, what did you already give the arm lengths and
No.
okay.
Christian Gonzalez measured in with 32-inch arms at the 2023 NFL Combine. Will Campbell
33 and a half.
32 and 5/8 inches, but last year, everyone's arm length was 3/8 of an inch short. So when they redid this at the LSU Pro Day, he was a full 33 inches.
Miraculously at the LSU Pro Day, his arms.
It did happen with other schools, but I joked that I was like, men everywhere now asking to be measured at the LSU Pro Day.
That is a good point.
Multiple players did have more
Even though
receiving
length
yards.
is not supposed to matter as much as width. Go ahead. I don't have either, so it's okay. I'm not advocating for either.
Stephon Diggs had 110 receiving yards in 4 postseason games. Romeo Doubs had 124 in the Packers' wildcard loss at Chicago. Jalen Coker of the Panthers had 134 in their loss to the Rams. So both of those guys had more receiving yards than Stephon Diggs did in 4 playoff games.
What was going on with Diggs? Why was he so ineffective in the playoffs?
Again, we talk about like the playoffs expose really who you are, put you under pressure. I don't think teams were that afraid of him, and you saw that late. And he had a great season, super efficient. But when it came to kind of manning up, playing one-on-one, you had good defensive backs who were just better. And look, Drake missed him sometimes, don't get me wrong. But they didn't play him in a way that he was double-teamed a lot or got the attention like a JSN did. Just didn't happen.
I have a 30,000 foot view question for you. Now that you've seen the Super Bowl and you've seen how teams play different in the playoffs, what's the talent gap? And the Patriots had such an easy schedule. What's the talent gap between a bad NFL team and like the Seahawks?
It's a good question. How do you want me to measure this? Like, how long would it take that team to catch up to the Seahawks?
No, just like in terms of when you watch the film, like there's just any way to quantify it. Like, is it like light years difference between the bad teams that they've played this year and then what they face in the playoffs? Because
or instead of like time, like players, like they're 3 legit players away from being the Seahawks.
So the Seahawks would have been a Super Bowl team most years. The Patriots, I think, most years would have probably been out in the divisional round. Does that answer your question?
So they would have won a playoff game and then lost.
I think
in the
so.
second
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
Okay. But, with their easy schedule, did you see a dramatic difference between the regular season and the playoffs? Because we keep, with Will Campbell and now with Diggs and with, we keep saying the playoffs are different and, things are called differently and it's just a different game almost. I'm just wondering if there's a dramatic difference when you look at the Super Bowl in like week 7, whoever they played.
Yeah, and it was mostly on May. Like I was digging through a lot of his stats, and there are a couple more. Like, he had double the interception rate in the playoffs. His sack rate was super high in the regular season. It went up to something like 20 whatever percent. And so his problems, the interception wasn't a problem, but his inability to avoid sacks when under pressure was an issue. That was kind of like pain in the regular season. That was an obstacle they overcame a couple of times, and the Super Bowl was just crusher. Because he had the same average snap to throw time as Sam Darnold in the pocket. Darnold took 1 sack, he took 6. And that was a big issue. So, yeah, I think the schedule helped. And again, it makes your problems feel worse and your strengths are mitigated. So what can you do? And they didn't have many change-ups or plan Bs. It was explosive plays on offense. They were really good at it, and they had a high success rate. But when they took away the down-to-down stuff, you're not running on the Seahawks, you're not running on Denver, et cetera, then you have to hit those explosive plays. And when you don't score points. And when you don't score points against Seattle, you lose.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, listen, as champion, I am the champion of 2 stats and 1 lie.
Andrew's got 2 stats. Andrew's got 2 stats. But he's got 1 lie. But he's got 1 lie. Andrew's got 2 stats. Andrew's got 2 stats. But he's got 1 lie. He's got 1 lie.
The tiebreaker that you had ready, it's not 3 more, is it?
Yeah, 3 more.
Oh. I was going to say,
Can I give you one?
John and I could have done it if it were like 1 question to see if I could tie for second.
I could pick one.
Yeah, just give us one, and we have to determine whether it's a stat or a lie.
That's fair. All right.
Hey, listen, as long as it doesn't affect my championship
No,
status,
you're good. That's fine.
If you want to play for the silver medal,
yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah.
I like that I get nothing, that there's no reward for this or any punishment for anything else. Go ahead.
At an average of 125 million people, more people watch Super Bowl 60 than currently live in Mexico.
125 million.
On average, watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Is that more people or fewer than currently live in Mexico? Ballots?
All right, there are 2 of them, and they're writing their answers down as they compete for the silver medal. As they compete
So you
for
just
second
write down
base
true or
place.
lie.
So Wallach might go from big lead in first all year
Yeah,
to bronze.
tied for second.
Yeah, he's a
No,
loser.
to
Tied for
third
second.
place.
Yeah, he's a loser. That's what losers do.
So, true would be there are more people that watch the Super Bowl than live in Mexico.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
I'm going with lie. I'm saying there's more than that. The population of Mexico City alone is like 25 million. So I'm saying it's a lie.
For some reason, I wrote down true. I think you're right, though. It's a good point. True is my answer.
It's a good thing you had him write it down.
Yep.
It was a lie. Well done, Hardy.
All right.
Second place, Hardy.
Damn.
John is in last place.
Ugh.
There you
Hold
go.
that one away.
Right where he belongs. Felger got some sass for putting down San Francisco. Did you enjoy the city?
I didn't really see it that much, but I did enjoy the city.
Should they have a Super Bowl? Is that a quality Super Bowl destination?
No.
Yeah.
But
that
here's
was
the thing.
pretty much unanimous
The
after
Super
the
Bowl
week.
You gotta have a
not
downtown stadium.
in San Francisco.
No, I know.
So I know you know that, but like if you're having the team stay in one place and all the events elsewhere, and people need to ping pong back and forth an hour from San Jose to San Francisco,
You should have a downtown stadium if you have the Super Bowl.
Yes.
That
So what's
should be
the
a rule?
Okay, so but are you down on Phoenix because they don't have a downtown stadium?
I've never been to Phoenix for a Super Bowl and only covered one game there.
Oh.
But I didn't like it because it was in
It's
Scottsdale,
garbage.
right?
It's garbage.
It's very far.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Glendale, wherever that is.
Glendale, yeah.
Did you know that the Patriots, by NFL rule, are going to receive rings? There's an article on ESPN. Yes, it's part of the contract that the NFL has for the NFL Super Bowl teams. that there's a bunch of stuff in there. There's a big article on ESPN about it. It's on the front page of ESPN. You can see it for yourself. But you do get a box shipped to you with a AFC championship ring in it. So it's these players talking about what it was like for them to get that ring and how they feel about the ring. Strangely, none of them admit to wearing it.
Yeah.
They say that it's collecting dust in a closet.
We didn't do this the other day. We were going to, but the NFL requirements for the Super Bowl host city. Do you know about these, Andrew?
I heard a couple things during the week that blew me away.
Okay, so
Can I just say this real quick?
Yeah.
I'll just read this. The NFL Game Operations Manual says that the team that loses the Super Bowl, quote, will receive awards for winning its conference championship. That prize traditionally has been a ring. But the word other piece of jewelry doesn't seem to make the rounds. It's more than a dozen ESPN interviews. Only 2 knew they'd be. Players don't even know they're getting this.
Yeah.
So it gets sent to them, and they go, ooh.
What the hell is this?
They're like a box, and then it's like AFC championship ring.
Yeah,
and so
from
they
Jostens.
Oh, no. It's from a guy who's like the jeweler, but not the guy in New York. It's a guy in Bev Hills.
Oh.
Don't worry about it. He makes me pieces.
So if you want to host the Super Bowl, your city has to provide 3 top-quality 18-hole golf courses at no cost. So the NFL can host a tournament on Super Bowl weekend.
They can have, but for charity.
Right. The NFL also requests the use of 2 top-quality bowling alleys at no cost for a bowling tournament the Wednesday or Thursday before the Super Bowl.
They just displace the bowling people. They have the FBI come in and they just kick everyone out.
They're outside picketing,
Yeah, so exactly. they occupy the bowling alley.
That's right.
16 months before the game, the NFL sends 180 people to the host city for a familiarization trip to inspect the region. The host city must cover all expenses for 180 people to go on a fact-finding mission.
It's nice to be on top. You can demand whatever you want.
So when the game is in Vegas in 3 years, so it's like next summer, they all get to go to Vegas.
Yes,
Yeah.
the host city
must
must
get a lay of the land.
Yeah.
The host city must provide 40 3-bedroom, 52-bedroom, and 21-bedroom apartments for 30 to 40 days for working staff, such as production and security. And they all have to be within a 20-minute drive to the stadium and have full amenities, Wi-Fi, full kitchens, washer, dryer, TVs in the bedrooms, and a workout facility on the property. The NFL requires a hotel with a minimum of 1,000 rooms for their use, with free items such as beer, snacks, internet, meeting space, free parking, and storage space.
Brown M&Ms.
Free items.
The NFL must be allowed to install ATMs in the stadium that accept preferred credit and debit cards. The league may cover up or remove ATMs belonging to other banks
That seems
if they
to be
wish to do
a
so.
rather antiquated notion.
Yes.
As cash is not usually allowed in the stadiums anymore.
Signal strength for cell phones. If it is deemed too weak in the hotel, the host committee must install boosters and erect portable cell towers.
Like my turbo booster.
They have to build towers
We had
outside? Really?
I'm calling that into question.
iffy Wi-Fi in the press box.
Oh,
So
really?
we missed one portable thing. It's some sort of connectivity issue with certain laptops, but yeah, I was using my hotspot for most of the biggest work day of my life.
Oh, well, I don't even know how you do that. Did they want you tweeting during the game?
No one made a comment, so yeah, I assume so.
Okay.
And by the way, after the game, the host city must remove the playing field at its own expense. And if the league requests it, give those pieces of green back to the NFL so it can sell them as licensed products.
Yeah. We've all gotten like either dirt from the infield or like a microscopic amount of dirt from the infield as a gift.
Yeah.
Or like a coaster with artificial turf on it that I see at everyone's house. They figured out something for everyone. We're all shills. We all just get rammed over. And we all eat it, complain, and everything else. All right. Well, Andrew Callahan, it is bittersweet. I'm sure you'll be back. But here, go. Be free. Nothing to cover for a few weeks.
Congratulations on your win, Fred. John, congratulations on your co-runner-up.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. I was proven to be the best. The best. And, Andrew, I thank you for that opportunity to showcase that.
I'll credit to you, Fred.
Thank you, Andrew. I do appreciate it. We will be back in just one moment.
Stay humble. You know, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
The Toucher and Hardy email bit is powered by Jeffrey Glassman, injury lawyers. Jeffrey Glassman wouldn't say he lives in the city and then live in Brookline Village like Andrew Callahan did. Did anyone else notice that? He kept saying he lived in the city. And I'm like, where do you live? And he goes, Brookline Village. I'm like, I lived in Brookline Village. I didn't live in the city.
See, this is a semantic thing, but I did live in the city when I lived in Roslindale.
Well,
but
I
would
lived in Brighton, and that was the city, too.
Yeah, I would say that Andrew lives more in the city than I did, even though he doesn't live in the city and I did.
Right, but Brookline has a certain panache to it.
Yeah,
that I think that
I would just tell people I lived in Brookline instead of saying living in the city.
Yeah, and then he's like, I'm only a couple T stops away, and it's like, that T moves slow, my friend. That's that trolley that stops
Green
every
line.
5. You walk faster than that green line. That's the C line. You can walk alongside of that thing. I remember when I moved here, and we had 40 seconds to find a place to live. And I was like, oh, the train runs through here. And then I got on it, and I'm like, is this like just for tourists?
Is there a man with a little choo-choo conductor hat at the front of this thing?
Yeah, it seems to stop every 10 feet. I don't really understand why we're doing this.
It does. It stops like every 50 yards.
Oh, it does. Like if you missed the train at one of the, if I walked up to the train and it was about to leave, I could just walk down to
You could
the
walk
other.
backwards to the next stop.
Or you may have to take a brisk pace, but it was certainly going to stop sometime soon. You want to expedite the T. Get rid of half of those stops. If you've been hurt in a car or work accident, you got to get Glassman. Don't just send an email. Call Oz Sevens at 617-777-7777 or visit gottagetglassman.com.
Ding, 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 ding.
But good luck to you getting rid of those stops because you're in Brookline where I'm sure those town hall meetings are a real breeze.
Yeah.
If you are in local government in Brookline, congratulations, because that just sounds like something that would really make you want to jump off a cliff.
Yeah, the B and the C. No bargains. Even the D line. A lot of stops.
Huh? What?
There are a lot of different branches.
Yeah, there's multiple branches.
Branches.
No, I understand. I'm on the D
D
line. I just didn't understand what he was doing, and he got a Boston accent sort of all of a sudden.
Okay.
So I thought he was doing a bit.
You know what?
D's okay. It gets you to Fenway pretty quick. I take the train to Fenway. That's how I get there.
Still kind of a walk to Fenway, though. Do you get off at Fenway or do you get off at Kenmore?
I get off at Fenway, but it's split the difference. If you get off at Kenmore, it's one more stop. It might be, I mean, if it's closer, it's by like an inch.
And then there's a bigger chance of more foot traffic going over the bridge. And,
yeah, but it
Fenway,
used to be
you have that
fun
long
with all
ass-
the bums and everything, but then they got all the bums out of there, and then it was no fun. I missed the bums. I wish Nick could just go down there. When we first moved here, we sent Adolfo to Fenway, and like he would just find crazy people just by standing there. They've all been eradicated. They're all out of there. Used to have a little bit of, that's right. Used to have a little personality.
Who's selling? Who's buying? Who's selling? Who's buying?
Thank you.
So, yeah, John is on some kind of a heater or something. Sarah from Everett emailed in. Does John have a big butt side piece as of late? He's been very sassy and confident lately. If I were Mrs. Wallach, I'd be suspicious.
Really? I never noticed that. You think I've been over the top last couple weeks?
P.S. Good for him if true.
No, sadly no. But
no side piece?
No.
Well, you're a Patriot fan, and they were in the Super Bowl.
That's probably
pretty
That's
exciting.
probably I'm feeling it a little. Yeah. Team I root for made the Super Bowl, so I was happy.
I mean, Hardy and I, it's funny because Hardy and I aren't Patriot fans, and I got a lot of correspondence, relatively a lot of correspondence, attacking me for not being a Patriot fan. Well, any of the videos that Nick put up, were like he has a Lions hat on, and it's like I'm not running around here with a Boston hat on.
Did these people just start listening to the show last week? I mean, 16 years you've been doing this. You've been saying you were a Jet fan basically since day one.
Like Mike
You're
Valente.
from Detroit and you're a Jet fan. What? So the fact that the Patriots wildly overachieved demand that you burn everything you own and start over?
Here's the thing. Mad Dog, I didn't know this when I started, but I was never going to fake my allegiances. But Mad Dog actively rooted against the Yankees. He was a Giants fan.
Yeah.
He took great pleasure. I don't do that. I don't come on the air and start instigating the Patriot fans by like celebrating it on the air. And then Mike Valente in Detroit, who I listen to in the afternoons sometimes, hates the Lions. And he's a big Boston sports fan. I mean, he does afternoons in Detroit. I like it. He's got a little negativity to him. I think it's good. You got to have a little negativity or it's boring.
But what? Getting back to the original point, which was people criticizing you for not being a Patriot fan. Just anybody who's listening
I don't know,
to this
John.
show.
If you come across a video on Instagram, how many videos on Instagram do you think you look at a day? I'm being serious. Like, how many do you think you look at a day?
At least 20.
See, I probably look at like 100.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I'll just sit there like an idiot flipping through my phone. I'm addicted to it like everyone else. Never, ever, ever have I had the impulse to comment on one of these videos, let alone inform the person whose video it is that I didn't like the video.
No, the most I've ever done is like something from somebody that I know. Like,
well, that's
I'll give you a
normal.
little
Yeah,
like.
that's normal behavior.
Yeah, I'll like something. Even for the algorithm, I'll like something.
That is normal behavior.
Now, I DM'd Lily Analik because I liked that podcast that she did so much. And I thought that would be nice if someone, said to me, like, I enjoyed this podcast, or I enjoy your show.
And slid into the DMs, huh?
Oh, well, listen, it's go to Lily Analik's page. You're going to be, you actually probably like Lily Analik. She's got the new book about, what's her face? Slouching towards Bethlehem. I forget. Joan Didion. She's got a little book about Joan Didion out.
Oh, yeah.
She did a really good job with that podcast. Once I listened to it twice, Once Upon a Time in Bennington College. Not as many times as I listened to the Oh Hello podcast, which I might have heard 700 times. Only a few, but when the podcast hit, it hits well. Anything that's not an interview. And by the way, I was talking to my ex-wife last night. She was the world's biggest Shameless fan, the podcast with Jason Bateman on it. Mm-hmm. Back out about a year ago. I'm like, do you still listen to that Shameless podcast? Smartless. She's like, I go, do you still listen to that Smartless podcast? She goes, no, I stopped listening to it a year ago. I go, why? She's like, because it got boring. I'm like, oh, you don't say. The same thing every show that got boring.
There are three guys. There's Bateman. There's a guy from Will and Grace, and who's
Sean
the third?
Hayes.
Sean Hayes, and who's the third guy?
Will Arnett.
Will Arnett, okay.
And they have, I've never heard it, but they have a guest come on and they don't know who the guest is. And then they ultimately chum up to the guest and blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
So you're telling me, and that's the show that Sirius decided to open the coffers for. A struggling company said, this will get us right back into things.
Let's give them $100 million, literally.
Yes, for something that is produced once or twice a week, that is the same format every time, and is invariably going to get incredibly boring. I have no idea even how to consume that podcast on it.
And
no idea.
You're talking about podcasts. How many people care or have heard anything about the Kelsey Brothers podcast in the last 6 months?
But I bet you if you looked at it, there's 700 million downloads, like some ridiculous number.
Yeah.
Because it's all crap. The return on investment on those things is terrible. It's just, it's. I like the live radio. I like Joey at night. Don't call me crazy.
Well, yeah.
I like him taking the phone calls.
Yeah.
I like people saying that Bad Bunny was demonic. I enjoy all those things.
Where else are you going to get entertainment like that?
Demonic.
Yeah. He hung up. Well, the producer hung up on her, which he shouldn't have done. But yeah, this woman called into Joe's show and she was talking about Bad Bunny.
All right, let's muse about this one. I got questions, and I also got a story about poop. We like poop, right?
That's how they pivoted away from her saying it was demonic.
You like it, right?
Yeah.
She called in and she said that she was in her car watching the alternative halftime show, and then she walked into the bar, and to her dismay, the halftime show was still on.
The train wreck. The train wreck of halftime because of the demonic.
Yeah, demonic. And then she was about to say Satan.
I thought she was going to say demonic signals, which would be even crazier. I like demonic signals.
That's a good point.
If she was going there.
If you have a loved one and they think something's going on the TV, and I've been through this with a friend who's no longer with us. I'm dead, couldn't be more serious about this. I had a friend, kind of the same thing. There's the dollar bills, got these signs in it, da-da-da-da-da. He started losing his mind. If you have a friend who says that the Bad Bunny halftime show, for this reason and this reason only, was sending out demonic signals, they have to get help right away. Because that's when people start getting, no, I'm dead serious. That's when people start getting crazy paranoid, and then they look into things and see things that aren't really there. And that's when you go crazy. You work yourself up. Mark Maron did it to himself. He got so into conspiracy theories, he made himself insane. He had to like step away from everything for a while and like clean his brain out because he had convinced himself there was all this stuff going on that wasn't really going on, and he drove himself insane. Concentrate on your orbit.
He was doing a lot of cocaine too, though.
I think it was after the cocaine.
Oh.
Yeah, he quit cocaine fairly young. I think he was in his 20s when he quit cocaine. I think he was in his 40s when he was going through the madness of the conspiracy.
Mitch says, you guys talk about pressures all the time. Can you even define what a pressure is? Bet you can't. These NFL so-called stats are just made up BS. For the record, I had Will Campbell at 2.5 pressures, half a porking, and 13 zeitgeists.
I don't care for porking. You should just say effed on the radio.
Did you know that he has a package?
How about package?
That's fine. Package is fine. Because that's the whole
You
kitty caboodle.
have a penis.
Like if you were with your friends, you would say, like you might say package. There's no way you would say porked. You know what I'm saying? Like they got porked. You say they got effed. Like if you were talking, you'd say the real word. You'd say the swear word. If you were cool.
Yeah.
And then you'd probably smoke too. You know? You do everything cool.
We may need to pull some audio of this for a comparison, but Alex said, I tried calling in earlier, but you guys were too busy talking sports to address this important matter. I believe you said you are fans of the Danny McBride vehicle, Righteous Gemstones, and when I heard you play Will Campbell's voice earlier, I immediately recognized it as none other than the creepiest and best character on the show by the name of Keith. Sorry to pile on poor Will, but I had to call in and it was extremely disappointing that Freddie didn't want to talk about this over the phone. I know how much he loves the things Keith stands for. The Lord above and some grade A scantily clad beefcake.
That's right. Oh, I know. The brother's
it's the youngest
boyfriend.
Son's boyfriend. Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
The guy from Workaholics' boyfriend.
Yeah.
Who was in the television adaptation of School of Rock. Played the Jack Black character.
Oh.
Yeah. Some of us pay attention to what our children are watching.
I'm trying to
kept them from the halftime show.
I'm trying to hear Keith's voice in my head and see if it sounds like.
I apologize about the other night not being available to talk.
Okay.
I got him. Hold on.
Okay. Hang on. Let me take a call in the meantime.
Okay.
Zach, hello.
Hey, just real quick, I hope Andrew hears this in the car. I wanted to address the concurrent redemption of Ramondre Stevenson and Andrew. They both fumbled like 3 times badly at the beginning of the season and both finished strong.
Okay.
Also,
was
Fred,
Andrew saying that they?
so,
Okay, go ahead.
and Fred, I think Andrew is an awful person if he doesn't, and I'm going back a year, he owes to sign Curtis Martin Game 1 jersey.
That's true. He did say he was going to get me a Curtis Martin game-worn jersey. That's right, Zach. Thank you.
And then finally, and only because you just mentioned it, Fred, my younger sister used to babysit your ex-wife.
In Cherry Hill?
Yes.
Oh.
I didn't creep on you. A long time ago, you made 2 data points that resonated with me. A quarterback from that town that played for the Jets.
Foley,
and exactly, and something else. And I said, wait a second. I think my sister might have babysat her. So
She had to deal with my ex-wife's mom? Did she mention
point of the morning.
Did she, believe me, that's not hard to get to. Did she talk about my ex-wife's mom?
Oh, baby.
I didn't ask her that. I just know that because I think
call and get back to us.
Wow. So, all right, but yeah, my younger sister babysat your ex-wife back in Cherry Hill.
Well, I'm sure my ex-wife was
man.
well behaved. Her sister, I can't speak for. She's a bit of a rabble rouser.
That
but
is-
dealing with that mom of hers.
When she was younger and had more energy, oh, baby.
Yeah, I don't know. That would have been something else.
Oh.
But there you go. Small world. What do you know? Small world.
How about that?
All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headline.
What a golden ticket I've gotten.
There you have it. Toucher and Hardy resumes on the Sports Show. We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
We are Toucher and Hardy. What is going on in this stack of yours?
All right, we have to get to the bottom of the Righteous Gemstones character sounding like Will Campbell. So first, Will Campbell.
I apologize about the other night not being available to talk. Just had a lot of emotions, obviously going after tough loss.
All right, and Keith from Righteous Gemstones.
I'm sorry, man. I like to keep your ball crud in you. I promise to keep your secret. And if I don't, you can cut my tongue out with rusted shears and bury it deep.
All right. Well, fair enough. They both have Southern accents.
Close enough. Mike Vrabel, in his wrap-up session yesterday, was asked this question.
Mike, you just used the words, we know how hard this is. Using those 3 words, we know how hard. What you thought about this team when you first took the job, training camp, did this team meet expectations or pass expectations?
Yeah. He was way off the first time, and then the second time, he was off again.
We know how hard this is. So using those 3 words, that's 6. What? We know how hard. Okay. You're still at 4.
Yeah.
Okay. And I guess Vrabel in his response was like, "What? You don't have to repeat back to me what I just said in order to prove that you're listening. Let's just assume that we're all listening to each other in this press conference, and we'll take that much for granted." What do you want to know? Is there a real question in here?
Those press conferences aren't worth much.
Or can we just move on?
Vrabel seems like a nice guy, and Callahan has said he's learned that he's telling the truth. So, I mean, good on Vrabel. But even with Vrabel, who's a fairly charismatic guy, those are a slog. I mean, you got to have Roach, picking him up a little bit.
Very little tolerance for crap like that. Very little tolerance.
Well,
for
I mean,
crap
I would have no tolerance for crap like that either. I mean, if I got up there, I could see, it's annoying to have to do it, but you want to play the game, you want to sell the team, all these things, and then you get asked the most, idiotic, long-ass questions. Yeah, it would bother me, too.
But the thing is, as a coach and as a player, you have to kind of build up a tolerance for that because you've gone through it so many times. Even when he was here as a player, he had no tolerance for that. It's refreshing to know that he hasn't changed at all. It's the same, the exact same.
I just think that's human nature. I think that unless you were talking to a complete stranger that had something that you wanted, that your impulse at that point would be to go, "What are you talking about?"
Sure.
I don't get your question. Just ask a question. Your whole thing was, did the team, first of all, exceed your expectations? No. I thought we were going to the Super Bowl right away. But then how do you don't even answer that honestly. Did it exceed our expectation is to win, or whatever garbage you're going to say. You got to think these things out before you, I know sometimes the easy question gives you the answer that you can then write about. But the whole preamble to it is a lot.
Kurt Cobain's death has now been investigated again, Fred.
Thank God.
Homicide. According to independent researchers and a private sector team of forensic specialists, they viewed the crime scene materials, the gun, and there are things in an autopsy that go, well, wait, this person didn't die very quickly of a shotgun blast, pointing to the organ damage associated with oxygen deprivation. The necrosis of the brain and liver happens in an overdose. It didn't happen in a shotgun death. So their belief is that he was given an overdose of heroin, which incapacitated him, and then was shot with that gun.
And how was he given the heroin dose that incapacitated him?
Someone showed up with some heroin, said, "You want this?" And he said, "Yes, please."
Okay, but then he still fixes himself and shoots himself up, and he's an avid IV drug user, so you would figure he knows what he's doing. That doesn't make a lot of sense. And by the way, people that knew him around that time said that he had become very isolated and was acting weird. So, because all I do is listen to these dumb music books.
Examination of the miscellaneous papers in the left front pocket of Kurt's jeans reveals some writing in black ink reading, what the hell? This thing just skipped on me. Remington 20 gauge 2.34 shells shorted up. That's what the official autopsy reads. The new investigator says, to me, it looks like someone staged a movie and wanting to be absolutely certain this was a suicide. The receipt for the gun is in his pocket. The receipt for the shells is in his pocket. The shells are lined up at his feet. They said it looks staged.
Too neat. Everything wrapped up in a bow.
We're supposed to believe he capped the needles and put everything back in order after shooting up 3 times, because that's what someone does while they're dying. Suicides are messy, and this one was very clean.
Well, part of the joy of shooting up, I guess, is the ritual. So maybe the ritual is to put the caps back on the needles. How people do that, oof. But at least with heroin, you're only doing it here and there. With the cocaine, you're shooting it up almost compulsively. Hachi machi. All right, that'll do it for us. Everyone have a great day.